it was a post-stream message or a inter-stream message. It's like internet, interwebs. Does anyone ever say that? I don't know. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. It is the Biendeo stream today on this fine 30th of June 2025. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and we'll have a wonderful week ahead of you. My week has been nice and how would I put it? Learning new stuff. And it is Plock. That is Plock, yes. But no, it's been all about learning new stuff and sort of taking a lot of new kinds of experiences in mind, and that's been kind of good. I got a bunch of topics today, so how about let's just dive into the game, which I'm not sure if you've heard of this game before. Inter-stream message might be when the stream has a break somewhere during that break. That's okay, it's fine, because I will tell you exactly what happened last week. What? So, on the last week's stream, I grinded for 2.5 hours. And then I fought Baramos and won. And we did it! We've beaten the game! Cough, cough. The world was saved, and right at the end... oh no, there was a bigger bad the whole time. Whoops. It happens. So, yeah, so we need to fight a bigger bad. Yeah, you missed the grinding stream. I got 6 levels! Oh, and also the king is so flabbergasted he doesn't handle the save info. So, yeah, no, nothing too much was missed. Just the vibes, the conversation, and the soliloquy, I guess, at the end of the day. It was very much a soliloquy. Oh, I didn't change the stream title. Oh, snap! The stream VOD will have it. The me doesn't have it. I'm like, oh, I knew I was missing something today. Alright, we're up to day 9 at the very least. But yeah, I'm like, oh no, I don't have a song name. So someone will have to think of a song name. There's too many very similar naming song titles, especially with ones with seed in the name. I'm starting to run a bit thin, so potentially we might beat this game in 2 more streams, including this one. Was there an earthquake? Yeah. Wasn't very strong, was it? Whether you defeated Baramos has already gotten to us. But it might be 3. We'll see. We'll see how we go. But yeah. So, yeah, the world is sort of saved, but there's a bigger bad. And we need to somehow fight the bigger bad. There's one thing that we need to do first, and that is... we need to not take the bird. We just need to cast a warp to Portoga. And then, I don't know where this person is. But there's a retro achievement for this. And it's worth doing anyways. Someone here actually recognizes the deed you did. So we're gonna need to talk to literally everyone who's probably not a shopkeeper. We'll just see how everyone's doing. But yeah, no, we got a lot of, well, it's not a lot of topics, but it's a massive topic, because I have a ton of, opinions on this one. We finally have a massive opinion piece from me. Not an opinion piece, I don't really write things. I do write game reviews on Backlogged. A very recent topic. How about start with yours, because, mine is gonna go on forever. And, we'll go with that. But I will mention, I finished Xenosaga 2. Or at least... for the most part, I did everything I really needed to do. Like, I didn't want to fight every single... Yeah. What goes around comes around. That's the truth. Yeah, there's a lot of super bosses at the end of the game. I think I did all the ones that were in the Japanese version. So I kind of stopped at the North America exclusive ones, because they just sort of kept upping the ante on me. But no, it was a good post-game push. Yesterday they apparently found footage of the Sonic movie before the Sonic redesign. Do we have the whole movie on that one? Hello there. But there is a river of sacred water in the Far East. The water is said to preserve youth and beauty. Okay, sure. A bunch of these people are probably saying things I mean, I do prefer the new design, but it is... Oh, a funny aside. Ooh. I do prefer the new design that they had, and I know it's been years since, you know, this really happened. So much so that we've already got a Disney movie that riffs on this. Please take this. Yes, this. Only women can use the sword. The Seduce Sword. The Seduce Sword is actually kind of interesting because I think it actually casts chaos when you use it as an item. There's an ability attached to it, so it's got some utility. And as for being able to stab people, I mean, well, you know, like, it can indeed be used as a weapon. Footage from the original Sonic movie before Sonic's redesign has been linked and no longer lost media. The 2018 footage was suddenly linked by Twitter. X used to solely dedicated to posting about farts. Oh, okay. To be fair, his design is a bit, you know, it's a bit butt. That was it. That was the only thing we needed. That one sword. Now, other than the plot progression, yeah, that's kind of all you get there. So, we might as well venture forth to where we need to go, which is very close to where we fought Baramos, I think. I'm running on fumes from my memory, I tell you, on this one. There's a lot of weird, like, Twitter gimmick accounts. So if we head over here, you'll notice that, no, it wasn't here. Alright, that was somewhere. I thought it was here. I think it was here. Was it not? There we go. It's incredible. There was a huge tremor and fissures opened up everywhere. A huge beast raced into the pit. My poor partner fell in. Ah! Well, you can follow after him. And, welcome to... There you go. Ah, you another guess? Ah, you must have come from the world above, too. This is Alefgard, the Dark World. Don't you forget it. I can loot some of his stuff. Like a luck seed. Very nice. Fortunately, he's got a boat here, so... Tantegel Castle is to the east. Papa said you can use the boat. Tantegel Castle? Alefgard? There's a tiny chair there. And, yeah, if we just head east... Does this music remind you of anything? These monsters shouldn't remind you of anything. They're goopy. Goopy monsters. But, yeah. Oh. These guys mean serious business, because they're going to keep calling enemies all the time, so... The quicker you can take them out, the less pain you'll have. And then these are Grand Titans. They're even bigger than the ones we had to fight in the last dungeon. Screenshots contain a mix of rough CG and unedited footage using original physical Sonic prop, with the entire thread showing 2018 footage many believe would never see the light of day. According to original posts, the footage is from a job that no longer exists, that they still had test footage from. They plan to edit out any information that could be incriminating or give away their identity before releasing actual video of this. I always find that's interesting how many people are holding on to, like, you know, like lost media like that. Welcome to Tantegel. You defeated Baramos. He's only one of Demon King Zoma's many disciples. This guy sells weapons, so that's cool. Now, this sword, you know, like, all this stuff I'm pretty sure we've seen before. Maybe the Silver Shield actually is new. Let's just double check. Is the Silver Shield actually a better shield? I think it is, actually. It is. It's not the best shield by a fair bit, but it's the best one for maybe Air and Nix. So maybe I'll save my money for that one. As for the helmet, the Mithril helmet, yeah, same thing. It's like there are better helmets, but this starts to be the best helmet for most of the classes. So yeah. We are very close to the end of the game, even though it's introducing a new area to us. Don't worry, don't worry. It's not too much of a new area. Yeah, that is interesting that we've got that footage, so I'll have to give it a check. And then I actually haven't watched the movie, so I'd need to like sort of compare and contrast the two. But yeah. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about Xenosaga 2. I think my opinions of it sort of initially sort of ended up being the opinions by the end, which was there is a bit of a downgrade in its kind of sounds on brand for Sonic. There's only despair. Deep in the northern cave is a bottomless fissure that defies any attempt to enter it. It's said to have been gouged out by the Demon King, hence its name of Nail Mark. It appeared when the Demon King came to our world. Interesting. Yeah, Sonic's always a bit of a weird one, I tell ya. Oh my gosh, I'm getting ads on my side monitor. I have... This is a thing, and I'll mention it a little bit later, but just... There's a little bit of a no-shame having, like... You know, reference material on the other monitor, especially for an RPG that I played ages ago, and I want to keep the momentum going. And it's like, yeah, I don't remember all the stats and things. It's me, Kanda. Just doesn't pay to be evil. Since I ended up here, I've been living the life of virtue. Let me tell you something, as thanks for the way you treated me. I've heard that the Sunstone is hidden away in Tantegel Castle. Interesting. Yeah, there's a few buildings around here. There we go, this is probably an item shop. There we go. I keep expecting item shops to have anything different by now. It's probably not. But yeah, I want to bring up a slightly older topic. Well, this isn't Tantegel Castle. This is actually... This person said it's just the town of Tantegel. I'm pretty sure there's more stuff as well. Like if we keep going east. It almost looks like you're exiting town. But you're not. It's a path. It keeps going. Oh. There you go. This looks like a castle. Welcome to Tantegel Castle. So we're looking for a mysterious item in here. Isn't there anything that scares the Demon King? He stole our equipment. You're right, he did. Wow. So let's bring up an old topic. 4 and a bit months ago, I mentioned a fellow by the name of Pirate Software. He is I guess, famous by being a YouTube guy, and he has I pointed him out. Yeah, you know what this is about, yeah. I pointed him out in the long stream that never ended. The absolute longest stream I did, and I had a mention of him, and I specifically... the specific topic that I was talking about was, like, character attacks, and how I was like, yeah, you know, like... Yeah, this sort of spurred on by Moist Critical video, although spurred on by... Accursed Farms himself sort of describing the state of the Stop Killing Games campaign that you've mentioned, and basically how, you know, it doesn't really look like it's going to achieve its end goal, but cling on to some hope. I actually thought when he was saying it, I was like, oh, you know, end of June. No, it's end of July. There's still another month. End of June is when my taxes need to be due, or rather, I'm gonna get a tax statement pretty soon because, yeah, end of financial year. But no, this is July. This is the end of July, this initiative. So, Pirate Software is, at least, the problem about what's happening here... Oh, look, it's the stone. It was just right here the whole time. Well, that seems convenient. We might still have it. Yeah, I think this campaign, it started, like, 10 months ago. It's been quite a while. But this campaign, its main goal, and I've got some notes written down on this one. That's how you know it's a serious topic, when I've written down notes. The main goal of this Stop Killing Games initiative... Have you taxed those 550... Oh, true. What would I lose? I'd lose, like, 130 gold out of that. That's not fun. Ah. That's not fun at all. Step guard. So, the Stop Killing Games initiative, defeat the Demon King Zoma, save your dreaming for your sleep. However, if one were to bring together the King Sword, Light Armor, and Hero Shield, they all used to be here at this castle, if you had them. I don't think any of those are actually required. I think the only thing you need is that Sunstone, and there's one other item somewhere that you might need. I've been collecting monster medals for many years, but I'm still... we'll be saving the monster medal dungeon for later, because it is going to take a fair bit of grinding, and it's not fun to watch, so there's no such thing here. It's odd that you mention it. I had a dream. In it, someone brings me the Sunstone when dawn comes to the land. So that post-game dungeon about getting all the not the mini medals, but the monster medals. Yeah, I will save that for some kind of bonus stream later down the line. I heard that somewhere. There was a man who said he came from there. Yeah, okay, so Stop Killing Games initiative. Ensure that for all games, and particularly games released after this passes, and even a bit of time after it passes. So I think Accursed Farms said probably, you know, like 2 years after the legislature passes, but it'd also be up to the EU to actually, like, decide on that day anyways. Then all games must have a guaranteed end-of-life plan, such that there is some mechanism that the game can be left in a functional or playable state. End of sentence, that is the goal. And I hope I'm not misrepresenting that goal, because sing a song. From afar came Biendeo, la la la. There we go. None have ever returned, not even the great Ortega. Oh my gosh, Ortega was here. Watching the Penguins Zero, there's a second video in the thumbnail being Pirate Software's response. Yeah, Pirate Software definitely did respond to a lot of things on Twitter, so I'm not gonna... I might be able to read some of them out loud, although I don't have any of them open right now, but I could probably bring that up. But yeah, the initiative was basically that. There's a few points in the slides, and Accursed Farms said in his original video back, I think it would have been back in August or something, kind of a lot of reasons and examples, or a handful of examples of like games that have definitely been, you know, killed off or inaccessible now. And there's a bit in that video that, like, I think Pirate Software points out of like, oh, you know, like, this should be an easy win for government because it's not like they have anything to do. And like Pirate Software is saying, what do you mean they don't have anything better to do? Like that kind of stuff. It's like, I sort of get that. But I do think like the core of the discussion, the core of the you know, what is the initiative pushing for, is that preserving games is not a financially profitable move in any way. I really think that it would be so rare for a game to provide an end-of-life support if it does have an always online component. I rarely think that would actually lead to more money. So the obvious answer is, do we need this? And then if so, how do you compel game companies to do it? Because everything is financially driven. They're not going to do it from the bottom of their hearts. Every game is going to release doing the bare minimum of what it needs to do. Maybe they'll spruce it up here and there, and maybe, you know, developers can do, you know, a bit more good work and a bit more proud work. But honestly, so many games come out in the MVP state. Like, it's like, does all the things that it needs to do, it's out. End of life support is honestly something very low down the priority list, I would imagine, for so many games, because, you know, what is the payoff? It's like, well, you know, yeah, like, your game will be enjoyed for generations, which is great. I actually think that's a really big kind of, a really big point culturally. I do really want games to have this. But how do you somehow convince every game to do this? And the answer is, it's got to be done through legislature. I think that's kind of one of the only ways. Now, companies should have end-of-life plans, not because it makes them money, because it's right. I agree there. I think that especially games as an artistic form or as a cultural form should have preservation. They should have an end-of-life support that allows people to enjoy it forever. That is my, like, my mantra on this one, and I really hope that no matter what, we can somehow preserve games forever. Stop killing games. The initiative sort of conflates two things, because there's preserving the games, and then there's also maintaining value for people after, you know, like, the game company officially decides to sunset it. Because that's actually two separate points. I think it's worth just sort of pointing out that that's the case. It's not to say that we can't do both. Also, I might as well. Also, I think you can warp here. Can't you? You can return to... Yeah, you can turn to Tactical. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you can't judge by the music and the fact that the town's called Tantagel, we're back in the first game. And also the second game. It was in the second game. The whole world of Alefgard continues to be in every single Dragon Quest game. Well, it's only in these three. It's only in the first three. But it's like, oh, return to the end yet again. And ironically, the goal is exactly the same as it was in Dragon Quest 1, which is there's a big castle right in the middle, and you gotta watch out for these guys, by the way. This is where Boom comes in handy. Kaboom. You gotta watch out for these red slimes. Actually, I don't think these things have too much health, so... Yeah, you got a lot of wild enemies all over the place, I'll tell you that. But our goal is just to really visit everywhere, because it's not like there's that much... We don't get a boat. Like, we've got the boat there, but the boat's only so that you can sail around the outside of the continent. You can't actually go anywhere inside, so you might as well just go on foot. But yeah, we're gonna explore everywhere. There is precedence for games being preserved even without the companies helping private servers. Yes, so I'll get into the private servers. But yeah, my deep kind of mantra is that yes, I think that if you buy a game, you should, and I think Louis Rossmann has this case as well. If you buy a game, you own the game. You own your copy of the game. And your copy generally should be somewhat supported. You should be able to copy your files of the game. You should be permitted at least one download, and everyone's, you know, it's always a nicety to be able to re-download games. But certainly it's like you should be able to copy your download of the game, and then continue to enjoy the game as it was sold to you. I think that is the core of what, like, people are upset about, is because now there's been a redefinition of buying a game. It's like, oh, you're not buying a game, you buy a license. What's the difference? First of all, like, that one really irks me. What is the difference between buying a game and buying a license? There's a couple of differences in there, but, like, when people say you're buying a game, they don't mean you literally own... Like, I don't own the intellectual property of Dragon Quest III on the Game Boy Color. You know what I mean? Like, that's obviously not what I mean. It means I have a copy of the game. They have published a game. It's, you know, it's a bunch of binary data, and I have a copy of it. You know, if this was a physical copy as well, I would have the physical existence of a game there. We got a dungeon here, and I do not know quite where I'm going. That's okay. Oh, snap! Big dragon. I mean, we've got plenty of health. sort of tanked it for a while, so let's see if we can just slap the dragon and call it a day. Yeah, it's not really doing too much damage. Put it in a different perspective, I don't think it's more unreasonable. Oh, well, yeah, the pushback makes sense as well, and especially if you're a game developer, it's like, well, obviously it's like you're asking for more work for the game developers to support this kind of thing. And I don't deny as well that I actually think it is non-trivial. I do think that the amount of work to support this, unless people also have an issue with regulations, the weird part is that I am very for this in terms of a regulation angle, but I was a little apprehensive about loot boxes because I think that the worst case of loot boxes definitely exists, where it's like literal gambling. And then I'm like, yeah, but I don't think Overwatch crosses that line. I was like, I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of rules for me kind of thing, where it's like, oh, I like Overwatch, don't ruin it, but also, I don't know, I wouldn't be upset if Overwatch didn't have the loot boxes. Also, that's interesting, I can't use spells. Oh, good thing there's a... That's kind of fun as well, you get the old dungeon music that keeps getting deeper as you go down. These are Troll Kings. This is going to be a bit of a weird dungeon, isn't it? It's also about removing them and making them more... Yeah, I think that transparency is good as well. There was a degree of removing them, though, because I think some countries, I think Belgium, flat out, like, removed them. Like, I think it's like the, you know, the idea of a chance mechanic is like, that's enough. Highlighting the percentage rate, which I think is a nicety. I would prefer games to show that off, especially if it is something you buy. I do wish that was a bit more propagated, but... Yeah, surprise mechanic, that's yeah, that was the phrase going around. But yeah, so specifically with the Stop Killing Games initiative, and I would highly recommend, if you are in the EU or the UK, because there's two different things that they're trying to go through. I can't participate in this because I'm not, you know, I'm Australian. I'm not one of those. But yeah, check up on what they're doing, and then also it is a what is it, a citizens initiative, citizens petition. Yeah, you've already signed it, so I know that's all good. But yeah, it's a citizens petition, so it's like it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, what's on it becomes law, because it's like that's 1 million people, which is a lot of people, but it's like it's 1 million people pushing forward for something. It's not a majority opinion, but if you can get enough citizen support for something, you can get it heard by Congress. Well, I mean, the reason why I would say I will mention Pirate Software. I think he's probably brought up every point against the bill. Are they valid opinions? Money. Yeah, I don't think there's tremendous harm in getting government to talk about this. And honestly, like, I'm optimistic that government doesn't, you know, like, screw things over if you just, like, present stuff to them, you know what I mean? I know this is a Mimic, but also I deal so much damage now that, like, this probably isn't too bad. Although they are faster than... Yeah, so... Oh, there you go. Unless it gets a crit, but... Yeah. We can deal with Mimics now. It's not too bad. He's got a fair bit of money on him. Tiny Mel. I haven't finished watching the Penguin Zero. See, okay, I watched... Yeah, I watched the Asmongold video about the Penguins video, about the Cursed Farms video, about the Pirate Software streams, and so now hearing it from me, it's like 5 layers deep, man. It was always about single-player games with always online DRM. I won't classify that he's always been talking about that, but I will say that it's come up at least twice, because I saw 2 separate videos, and I actually watched his, like, formal YouTube videos, where he said in a tweet to, oh, I can't cast outside, that's okay. We got the hero shield, so that's at least something there, and I gotta deal with these fellas again. But yeah, let's bring up, Pirate Software on this one. So he brought up a few points, and actually, let me see as well, there's an article that actually... There we go, let's see, because I found an article that actually has a written kind of dot point. Not the Dexerto, not this. There we go. This is an article from Game Grin from way back when, because these videos were posted back in like August of last year. So I feel bad because I made my video sort of going like, or not a video, but like when I was talking about Pirate Software getting sort of dogpiled on Twitter about sort of like, oh, he uses a voice deepener, oh, like he cheats in some games, or like not cheats, but as in like he plays games blind, but he's not really playing them blind. That one I do think, like, if you are playing it blind, be honest, keep the spirit. I don't think it's bad to have a guide or something open if you want to keep momentum on the stream, but you can't say it's blind if you're using a walkthrough on the side. Like, only use it for like, oh, I'm truly stumped. And also, you're playing a game that was full of puzzles. I think it came up like twice. First time blind. Like, what was he playing? Animal Well? And, yeah, there was an example where it's like he literally just, like, gets to this one point in the game and apparently there was a puzzle that took people weeks to figure out. And he just, like, goes, oh, it was this poster. Just indicates the whole thing. And people were like, you didn't even have, like, half of the rooms visited. How did you know that that actually related to everything? You could do both. Also, shout out to actual blind people who ended up beating games. That one guy who beat Ocarina at the time. Legend. So yeah, so here's this article, and I think it sums up, at least it mentions a bunch of Pirate Software's points, and I had watched his videos on this one. He made 2 videos at the time, separated by like 2 days, and I don't really think, praise be, also we got a heal all, finally. We got a heal all on the main character. Too bad I can't use it at this very moment. Ugh. I'm actually surprised that these enemies are not kicking my butt insanely, but I am also just like, oh, I want to get out of this dungeon real quick. At least I've got 2 characters who can revive. And yeah, Blaze Most is not going to be fun. Oh. Actually, no, yeah, I don't know why. I've only just now realized, I was like, oh yeah, the enemies also can't cast magic. The fire is the annoying one, though. Yeah, air can't take more than one more of these, so... do I know about the MSX computer? I do know about the MSX. I know that, Dragon Quest, I think, was originally released on the MSX. The NES versions were ports of that, so... Which is always good fun. Like, kind of experiencing this, like, oh, you're actually not on the original. Oh, it's the next Dev Jam. Oh, very nice. Oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't paid attention to the chat. My thought on that one was that, the next console rollout would be, like, the group thing. Which is probably why they were waiting until now, because they released the Sega CD Dev Jam games. Which, Wirehead is one of those. Shout out Wirehead. I have some slight fascination with MSX games recently, especially. Oh, it's in like Dev Jam / launch kind of window. You know, like getting developers together to release a bunch of games all at the same, or a bunch of sets at the same time. Oh, 1 health. Ah. I mean, to be fair, the cleric is the most useless character in this dungeon. More experience for everyone else, I guess. Oh, we got another one with heal all. There we go, we're out. Which is not too bad, because I've got Vivify right here. So, there we go. And now we can just full HP, and we're good. But yeah, so let's go through a couple of the points that Pirate Software has. So first of all, he talks about the language of the video a bit, and he specifically... Oh, I mean, I think there is going to be a new console roller, and I probably suspect that will happen before another Dev Jam, because, like, it's one or the other. It's like, it's usually that. Greatest on the MSX. MSX is always good fun as well, because it doesn't have, like, scrolling in the same way that the NES could. I need to play more shmups, though, I tell ya. keeps making the goopies. We hype. I can't tell you which console it is because I don't know, but I can definitely tell you that it's probably not the Switch 2. Probably not. But yeah, so Pirate Software goes into the language of the video is disgusting, sort of like, oh, this is like manipulation into like making there a problem when there isn't really, and he specifically pointed out that, well, one, the big example that they used in the legislation is the Crew, and I've mentioned the Crew a bunch of times. As the proud owner of the Crew, I personally am salty about this. As the proud owner of the Crew who bought it as a single-player game, it says single-player until the day it died on Steam, by the way. Yeah, I know it says MMO. It also says 4-player, like, groups, which implies to me that it has the same amount of MMO as Forza Horizon. Or the same amount of MMO as maybe, like, I don't know, what's another one? Like, Burnout Paradise? Maybe? Like, I want to specifically point out the Crew. The Crew is a single-player game. The Crew is a single-player game that has online components that let you match up with other people without necessarily asking for it. And then you can also just invite friends to a 4-player lobby in particular. 4 players, I just want to highlight that. And then you can drive around the world. It has other online features. I think it's got leaderboards and other kinds of stuff. It's got actual online races if you want to lobby with more people. But every, you know, it's a open world with race events that you can race against AI with. I know it has online mechanics, but like fundamentally, to me, it's the same game structure as so many other single-player games. You know, like, let's just say Need for Speed Most Wanted from 2005 on the PS2, or Need for Speed Carbon, or Need for Speed 2012, or all the, you know, tons of other games. I mentioned Forza Horizon. What's another one that's like this? Juiced, Burnout Paradise, although that's sort of, you know, there's tons of games. The reason why this irks me is because Pirate Software does kind of, okay, I mentioned that, like, oh, like 4 months ago, I said, oh, you know, sometimes people have a problem with, you know, the way you say something or your attitude. I have a problem with this attitude, because I think that Pirate Software says that there are people who are ignorant or do not know what they're talking about, and I'm like, bro, you have misrepresented the exact game that, like, is really a poster child of this. And I think by sort of saying, oh, it is an MMO, everything on it says MMO, I'm like, no, what? So now you can't play, yeah, you can't play this game because, yeah, they've done the middle finger. If you bought it through Uplay, not only can you not play it, you can't download it as well. They removed it from libraries, which is an extra layer on top of that. And also, it's already going through lawsuits in California. I don't know if they exactly have the case. Ubisoft have definitely, they have stolen it. Oh no! I don't know why also I haven't equipped the shield, because whoever's holding onto the shield, who is holding it? There you go, hero shield. I mean, obviously, only the main character can equip it, but you might as well. So, but yeah. Now, to be fair, I also haven't played it. Although I did play a demo of it way back when. But I haven't played the Crew 2, and I know you're saying, but didn't you say you own it? Yeah, I know. But I'm a bit miffed, because I bought it months before they took it off sale. Like, they took it off sale the moment they announced they weren't going to sell it anymore. I bought it 85% off 3 months before it was taken off sale, and then I think another 3 months before they took down the servers. I owned it for 6 months, and I thought I was getting a good deal because it was on sale. I'd be a little bit more miffed if I bought it in that interim time for its full price, but, like, that's the part that I'm really upset about. Is that there's this game, here it is, it says single player right on the box, and then it's like, oh, okay, whatever. Now, it being single player, let's highlight this. So, it being single player or it having online components shouldn't change the nature of what we're saying. Because there are games that are single player and have the lightest multiplayer elements out there, and there are games that are multiplayer and surprisingly can be brought into, I guess, a self-hosted kind of environment. The key game I want to bring up for this is done well is Quake 3. And I know Quake 3 is like, oh, it's software. They know how to do it well. And also you might be going, well, it's not massively multiplayer. The fundamental with Quake 3 is that there are actually 3 possible externalities, I think, with how Quake 3 works. The first one I just want to mention is that it has a serial key system. I think that is entirely validated locally. So the key has to match a pattern. Maybe someone reverse engineered it. I have no idea actually. Also, I don't think the digital versions of the game even care that you'd haven't even put in the serial key, whatever. But it's like, point is, that doesn't rely on any external server right now. So that actually seems to be pretty safe. Number 2 is that, and also Quake 3 is a primarily multiplayer game. If anything as well, it's like if you advertise Quake 3 as a single player game, which maybe it's like, oh, okay, well Quake 1 and Quake 2 and Quake 4 have single players. Quake 3, its single player came from that era when it's just multiplayer deathmatch with bots as a campaign. So if you can bring MMOs back from the dead without dev support, I mean, I had the same reasoning with the Clone Hero stuff. It was like the less kind of obfuscating and hiding from the devs, the easier a time it would be to actually make the mods I want. And obviously as well, this will bring up cheats, which we'll get into in a little bit as well. But yeah, with Quake 3, so servers become point number 2. So server software was solved day 1 because they released server hosting software. Never mind as well that Quake 3 is open source, so you can technically do anything you want nowadays. But at the time, it was not open source. The engine was not open source, so you couldn't, extend it and do your own stuff. But that being said, they released server software for various operating systems during its lifetime, such that people could then host their own servers of Quake 3. You didn't need to rely on an official server. On top of that as well, you can run the game in a listen server mode, so you connect, but you're also running the server as part of the game itself. That doesn't necessarily need to be how you do it, but certainly designing a game that does that makes a lot of sense. But secretly, there's actually a third piece of server software that you may not have considered as part of the mix, and that is you turn on Quake 3 and you go to multiplayer and it shows you a list of servers. That list of servers relies on a master server. The master server is a centralized server that then tells you about all the other servers. And in order for your server to be visible, other than just directly connecting to its IP address, which you can still do, but if you want people to join it via a server browser, you need to register it via the master server. Different games will do it different ways, but that's how Quake 3 did it, and there's a bunch of other games that do that. And you know what Quake 3 does? There's a console command to change the master server domain. You can change that with a flick of the wrist. It takes no effort. Now, I don't know when they released the software to make your own master servers. Maybe it was at the same time. But the point is that there is nothing in Quake 3 that relies on idgames.com or any other hard-coded idgames reference. Every single game, every single part of Quake 3 can be subbed out for a different part of Quake 3. For a self-hosted Quake 3, for maybe a different company wants to run a Quake 3 thing, anyone can do anything with that game. And it being open source is like the last part of it, is the fact that, okay, if there's anything we miss, there you go, you can go and you can fix stuff up. And is there a rampant cheat problem with Quake 3? Not really. One, because most people don't care. And I actually think that's a huge problem with games with bots, is why on earth do people care? But that's a separate point. But certainly, hey, if you wanted to validate things server-side, you could write stuff for your server software to make it, more resilient to cheaters or stuff like that. There's tons of stuff you can do. The sky's the limit. But Quake 3 is a game that will exist forever. And everything that was set up by the game devs along the way, by the way, and I want to add this, is that it was designed knowing that this would happen, and they just did it because that's what makes a good product. That is the most ideal use case. Now, if you had legislation that said, hey, can everyone else put in the same amount of care that these fellas did, I would be very, very happy. So let's imagine the crew, and I guess the thing is that, like, what counts as playable in this state? Because it's like, we get to this problem where it's like, okay, well, like, when you say a game is playable, what do you mean? And that is a good question, because it actually will vary. If you have a game that relies on multiplayer, you know, components, do you just ghost town it? Do you just say, hey, yeah, you know, the game can be played, you know, is in a playable state? You know, say, for example, the crew. But all of its multiplayer features don't work. I think, I want to say off the top of my head, and I mentioned, yeah, does all the content need to be playable? Because certainly there are games out there, and I think, ooh, I need to take out that thing earlier. There are games out there, I think Far Cry 3 is a great example. Thanks Ubisoft, by the way, for constantly providing more examples, where they removed the ability to activate DLC. So if you had activated it, technically your local content will allow you to then run it. But if you hadn't activated it, or if you re-download the game and you need to reactivate it in you know, by running the game, the server that does indeed activate the DLC doesn't work anymore. So if you had paid for that DLC as a separate product, I think a part of me feels, okay, they've dropped the ball on that one. You know, that is not only content, but that is also a primary, like, purchase. There is a purchase that you made, or at least a sellable product that is inaccessible. And I think a part of me goes, you probably should have, you know, that kind of sorted out. Everyone likes dungeons that go all over the place, don't they? But at least you can use magic in this one. So, yeah, but, like, I think people are going to have to judge on a per-game basis. Ideally, everything, because at the end of the day, you know, by that Quake 3 example, at the end of the day, the issue that games have is dependencies. You have a piece of software, and I guess this is the thing as well, this is a software issue. I don't think it's particularly a game issue, and also, although I will bring up another example on that one, anything that is single player should be able to be played, anything that requires other people should be able to run by the community. I definitely agree with that, and I think there's, you know, like, the Quake 3 example is great, but even games with more money, wow. Soon I'll be able to buy that shield. But, yeah, the, train of thought just left, sorry. But no, I think that if a game is, you know, like, sorry, yeah, the issue that games have is a dependency issue, is that we have a piece of software that needs to call out to other services or other, well, yeah, just other places all over the internet. Maybe it could be locally hosted and it's not actually exposed to the internet, or maybe it is out to the internet, you know, maybe it's, and this is actually a big problem of much more recent games, there's a large emphasis on out-of-the-box solutions provided by many cloud, you know, service providers. AWS actually has lots of out-of-the-box tools for scaling, you know, game servers or serverless game servers or things like that. Like, you know, you could host databases on, not RDS, because that's the mounted one, DynamoDB, which is a technically instance-less database, and it's like, yeah, if you say like, oh yeah, you know, this database is literally the AWS database, it's like, well, there is no, like, you know, you don't sub that out by, you know, oh, just send me the binaries. And I think that's the thing, is that there was a lot of talks on, well, how do you make a game support the end of life? It's like, oh, you know, you can send source code, or as the extreme case, or, you know, you could share binaries of the server software. That makes a huge assumption that they actually have the server software, because there is a lot of stuff that they didn't write. If you can implement something without necessarily having to, you know, like, make it yourself, You're gonna do it. That's why, like, you'll see, like, Fmod in the credits for so many games, because, like, implementing, like, audio is just painful. So, there's actually quite a bunch of programs out there. It is their fault, but this is where I start to get into the whole, this is why the developers will push back against this. Because everything that we ask about making games supported in the long term requires the external licenses to also be brought with it, which I think is a huge folly of that negotiation, is that you release a game knowing full well that you have a negotiation with some other company about, like, certain bits of software. The easy example is, you know, again with The Crew, it's a car game, so it's got licenses to cars. But also there's software licenses, there's music licenses, there's licenses all over. So many things have licenses these days. You only have so much time to sell it for some odd reason, because that's what you agreed on, instead of just saying it's the lifetime of, you know, like, it's the product, I can release that product for as long as I want. For some odd reason, you negotiated 10 years for some reason. What good does that do for you? I don't know. But all of that negotiation, at the end of the day, it's on the same shelf that you can buy a pre-owned copy of Gran Turismo 4 on the PS2 for. That is the part that really rubs me the wrong way about these negotiations. Because to me as an end user, it doesn't matter to me. None of it matters to me. I'm really worked up about this, by the way. But, like, yeah, like, I don't have a heel breaking or paralyzed breaking. Oh, I guess they're not paralyzed? Hold on. Wait. Yeah, they still are paralyzed. Do I have Moon Herb? There you go. Just one of those. Well, exactly, yeah. From your perspective, and I think that's the big thing, is that when, you know, when there was this language of buying a game or buying a license, we got into this fun period where it's like people just casually started conflating, also check it out, it's a devil sword. And a devil armor. I think, both of these are cursed, and actually, well, yeah, let me check. So, the devil sword is, yeah, it's cursed. The user gets stunned randomly. Yeah, does that sound fun? It technically does the most damage, except for one other weapon, which the hero will get. And as for the cursed armor, or the devil armor, 33% chance to immobilize the user every time an attack is used and reduces all magic damage down to a quarter. It is good armor, but again, it's like, oh, is it worth it? Probably not. I'd probably say the best thing to do is, because I'm gonna get a, I think there is a, is there another piece of armor for, yeah, there's another blade armor in the game, and by that point, you're pretty good, so. These guys got the defense. But yeah, so there was this sort of redefinition of what it counts as buying a game, because yeah, there was the talks of, oh, now it's buying a license. But again, to me, you know, let's go back in time. Let's go back to the oldest game ever, Space War. It's you, your friend, because it is a two-player game, pressing buttons on a computer running that piece of software. And that is the fundamental of what a game is. It is a piece of software which you can interact with and get engagement out of. Now, in order to deliver that interaction, you know, you'll need, you know, peripherals, you need, like, your own ability. There's lots of sort of, like, you know, extra parts that go on top of that. And then we start to get into the whole, okay, well, how do you operate it? And sometimes that introduces, you know, extra controllers. You know, we've got actual, you know, dedicated game controllers. We've also got controllers that are specific for only certain kinds of games, or even one game, like sometimes that just happens. And keep that in mind, because I do want to bring up the Guitar Hero use case in a bit, but we'll get there. But for the most part, it's like, you know, a game would be a piece of software. It runs on a particular system, so sometimes, you know, or I guess from like the Odyssey onwards, it's like, okay, well, this doesn't run on these kinds of computers, it runs on this one machine. People design the software to run on that machine, and they know that, like, you know, that sort of relationship has always been there. But for the most part, it is the machine It is the piece of software that you buy from the store, and that's it. If you need any extra peripherals, it needs to be flat out, slam, plastered on the box, all over, raised to the high roofs, freaking, like, put a big note on Steam saying, you need the real tone USB cable in order to play Rocksmith. Or something like that. That's, like, the only example I know that's on Steam that actually needs an external peripheral in order to play. Like, that is my prime example of that one there. I think we're good in this dungeon. I think the only point was to get those 2 parts, so... it feels like a whole big companies have done... Oh, it is a massive hole, because, like, you know, games are corner cutting all the time. And honestly, they are big projects. A lot of them are running crazy over time budgets as well. It's like, there are so many games coming out now that were, or maybe like a couple of years ago, that were directly influenced by... That's fun, by the way, to have both of the revivers. I could have cast outside as well. I didn't have to suffer this one, but that's okay. But yeah, there's a lot of games that have come out in the last, like, 2 years that were directly influenced by Overwatch 1's release. It's just like, we're at that point where it's like, oh my gosh, it takes so long for a game to be made now. They wouldn't need to cut corners so they stop wasting money. Well, there is that as well. There's a lot of reasons. There we go, I don't need to stay in this dungeon. There we go. Games don't need to take that much time. A part of me feels like I don't have the easy answer. I do feel like way in the past, games were harder to make and yet didn't take that much time or people to make. But people do want larger and larger games, and I do wonder whether there's, I guess, truth to the madness, or whether it is, like, just churn. Oh, I was hoping they would actually bring back people, but no. Okay. I had completely forgotten if there was a church inside the castle there. But I do remember the church was out here. There it is. Yes. Oh, exactly. Yeah, it is self-inflicted. Like, all of this is like, you know, like, why do games have so many dependencies? It's like, well, that's entirely a self-inflicted, you know, you made the game like that. My brother, you made the game with the dependencies. Why are you upset that you now have to support the game with all these dependencies? I'm upset because of your undertaking. You know what I mean? Like, that was a you thing. But yeah, like, plaster it on the game when or how many dependencies you have. And for the most part, it's so internal. It's so under the hood. We, as people who purchase the crew, have zero idea what it takes to actually host a server. In order to somehow figure that out, you have to basically reverse engineer the game, which is virtually impossible when Ubisoft also removed it from people's libraries. Cough, cough. You need to reverse engineer it, which also, by the way, is against the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Haha, isn't that fun? You have one law that is sort of adversarial to even solving this problem as well. Who pushed that one into law? Can't believe it. Part of me wants to... Yeah, I'll buy the shield now. Because I know that... Well, one of those shields at least. Actually, I only need... No, I'd need 3, yeah. You don't understand what it takes to preserve a game, says the... Well... Yes and no. Like, yes, and I do think that when Pirate Software brings up the whole, like... I think I did see people just say, like, oh, it's easy to, like, you know, like, to support this. I would definitely say it's non-trivial. Honestly, it might take a couple of engineering months, which, you know, so multiply by, like, the number of engineers, you might be able to speed that up, and obviously, there's the statement, it does, you can't have a baby in 1 month with 9 mothers. Like, that's the one where it's like, I don't know how this scales, like, if you get 10 you know, 10 times the number of people, will that necessarily make it take 10 times less time? Probably not. Usually not. I feel like modern games are not necessarily bigger, but they also sometimes have more internal complexity, more items and interactions than I have, or animations which require a lot of work. With a trivial solution, which I think is also part of the proposal, is that expiration dates. Well, yeah. Because, and this was a point Lewis Rossman had. He was like, if you sold me a game and the game was exclusively under a subscription model, he would feel a lot more, like, accepting of, oh, we need to sunset the game. Because you were paying under, like, a pay-to-access subscription model anyways. You were anticipating that, you know, or sorry, you were paying for the access. That was really what you were paying for, and you know, by being a subscription, it's clear that that's the case. But virtually not many games are subscription based. And yeah, not every game should run forever. And obviously, as well, it is impossible for every game to run forever because companies die. Like technology can also go out of date, and it's like I think it can be quite tricky after a while to do it, especially for, you know, games that run on architectures that no one uses anymore. Like, it's like, oh, you're telling me, like, oh, you know, like, what's... there might have been, like, MUDs back in the DOS days, and you're like, oh, you know, like, how dare you not support this DOS MUD? You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff. It's like, there's a reason why we have emulation, because hopefully emulating the hardware can support a range of software written for it. At the very least, like, you know, in the hands of dedicated users, hopefully ideas and games can run forever. There's a reason why Toontown is back online, and Club Penguin, and what's another one as well? There's one guy trying to do Darkspore, and I really appreciate that guy's effort, because I'm also the proud owner of Darkspore. And Darkspore makes even less sense. And yeah, Toontown is an MMO. So first of all, yes, let's say it. Another point from Pirate Software. He said MMOs. Yeah, EverQuest. I think Phantasy Star. Also, I guess Final Fantasy 11 is like a classic retro achievements example. Because it's just like, yeah, it's literally a game, like an MMO. It's right there, and here is a entirely fan-driven, at least community server for it. Man, remember these guys? They're now end-game enemies, oh my gosh. So another Pirate Software statement, he said, was that if this goes into play, games that, and then he would say you like, but it's like, well, also games that he likes, because he plays Final Fantasy XIV a bunch. And then he also name-dropped League of Legends, and I really want to fight the League of Legends example. Yeah, there's definitely proof that these games can survive in states. I think he was saying games like these won't be feasible, or like, you know, they'll die off. We can't meet these demands, and therefore, like, we'll never be able to make a Final Fantasy XIV ever again. And to that I say, absolute bull honky, because it's actual, like, this is gonna be the harshest I go. It is loser behavior to think that you cannot write your software to be adaptable, to allow adapters, to have its externalities be emulated, to be locally pointing somewhere else, to be like actually redirected to other places. There's a reason why DNS redirection is also a very powerful tool as well, and not to say that DNS redirection, like, that shouldn't be the answer. I do think that there's a lot of games where it's like, oh, I'd love to be able to change a config setting and be able to point to somewhere else. But ultimately, you know, hey, if you document a DNS, you know, thing, or it's like, oh, you know, if you black hole this certain domain. I do remember, actually, way back when, before Burnout Paradise had its, you know, kind of remaster, it actually had, by the way, that's the spell. That's the spell. I finally got there. Heal Us. 18 magic, it's a lot, but it's a heal more for everyone. Finally. You can always code it, yeah. Yeah, that, like, it's an absolutely defeatist mentality to say you cannot do like, a game like this. Because it's just like, games have been done like this, even in the unoptimized and the, you know, the non-ideal scenarios. You can work with it. You can get it into the state that you want it to do. So, by saying that these MMOs cannot exist is entirely, like, how would I say? I don't think he knows what he's talking about. And that begs into question, like, do you really have... I don't have experience in, like, making games. I've been trying. I have some Godot updates, just a little bit. But I have experience writing enterprise software, at the very least. Various sizes, various whatever. You know, like, different domains and you know, what's the... You know, what am I doing it on? But, like... Yeah, like... I've literally rewritten things to work in cloud, rewritten cloud to not work in cloud. Like, that kind of... It's not impossible. It's not trivial. You can... naming a baby. It's not impossible. Just say that. Like, you should be able to handle this. So, on top of that, League of Legends is a baby example as a game as a service. Because there is a perfect example of a game that can be run with local dedicated servers. It's called Dota 2. I am absolutely shocked that he pulled an example that is literally got a direct competitor that actually does do most of what it is. There's obviously going to be parts of Dota 2, I think, that do rely on centralized solutions. Obviously, as well, it relies on Steam matchmaking right now, so custom servers, you know, like, some of its functionality is tightly bound to Steam. But the answer is some of its mechanics. You can take Dota 2 into an offline LAN environment. Today, you can do that. I got a high wall at Mercado. Well, we gotta keep looking. I am Lena. I used to be popular as a dancer in Echelon, but I was being chased by a creepy customer, so I ran off. Oh no, the Troop Master is doing. Oh. And the bunny hood, very nice. So, yeah, poor small company Square Enix doesn't... Yeah, exactly. And that's why I say very kind of loser behavior or defeatist behavior. Now, again, just to add as well, you're a game company. You've given your studio 5 years to make a game. Honestly, you know, giving it that end-of-life support is not going to be on that priority, and I completely accept that. If you force it into law to be a priority, just like we forced, or not we, because I'm not in the EU, but like just like the GDPR forces companies to be concerned about their data protection. How long are they? My husband's done nothing but fret over the name of the baby. Like, not to say the GDPR has exactly been, like, perfect either. I think there's some things where it's just like, oh my gosh, like, what's going on there? But certainly, it's like, oh my gosh, data retention. It's like, yeah, that's the reason why there need to be laws. You need to be able to, like, is it something that has, you know, that, like, how would I put it? Is it something that citizens need? And I guess the answer is, yeah, they bought stuff, and it was under the pretext that, you know, it worked, at least for a while. Like, if I've bought a game for 6 months and it's already offline, it's like, wow, that's pretty sad. There are some examples as well that we use. I think Lawbreakers is another one, and that one only lasted a year, so you would have bought it for a real high price. Like, yeah, there's lots of examples of games that have been shut down so soon. It really irks me, so... What a weird doorway. Above the sky, there is another world, or so the legend goes. In that world, there is a mystic artifact called the Light Orb. Is the Light Orb what's needed to bring light to this world? Keep that in mind, that Light Orb. We're gonna get into that in a bit. But yeah, some was shut... Yeah. The ones shut after 2 weeks, though, I think they actually did do refunds, so... At least it's that. And I know the classic, you know, the Concord example. Refunds, I think, are, like, disappointing, but, you know, acceptable ways to go out. again, it's like, it's not a profitable thing to do at all. Because you already spent the effort to make the game. And now you're going to basically go, no one even gets to, like, you know, make any money from it. This town can't go on much longer if there is no water. Don't you just hate evil creatures? So, yeah, so that one Pirate Software point kind of irked me a bit. Now, on the other statement of, like, yeah, like... Oh, he's in Makata, the town east of here. Oh, we'll get there soon. 5 steps south of the public bath and coal, there is a buried flute. Interesting. Interesting. So I think we can't go further east. Maybe we can, actually. Well, we'll give it a crack, at least. We'll just keep going further east. We'll see what happens. There we go. Let's look up, what else did he say as well? Yeah, making the case that, like, fewer live service games will be made. I did see a bunch of tweets basically go, I don't see the problem in this, and a part of me goes, yeah, I would prefer fewer games to be live service games, and I think there should be more effort on single player, or at the very least, self-hostable solutions. Like, there is a problem where bigger multiplayer games go in and out very quickly. Yeah, exactly. It's like so many video games are written with so many dependencies, and there's not like there's more people, you know, the pool of games is expanding faster than the actual pool of players across all of these games. That's the problem. And I'm like, making them be able to be self-hosted, one, again, you know, loser answer by saying it can't be done, but also, like, it's not the problem of, like, you're making programs that are eventually worthless. They have less value to the point of no value to an end user, and you have the cultural impact of that game experience literally not existing anymore. Like, I feel like the whole point of, like, oh, fewer people will make that, I'm like, yeah, if you convince enough people that this happened enough times, regardless of legislature or whatever, you can have people like me start to develop a thing where I look at the Crew 2 or the Crew Motorfest and I go, no, because they did that to the Crew 1. I literally will not buy the Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest because I have absolutely no faith in this company in actually, like, keeping this product afloat. That's, like, that should be absurd. That should be like, oh, what do you mean you're afraid to buy a video game knowing that the studio is going to take it away from you? And I know that, like, terms of service as well also is a whole nebula of stuff as well that we'll get into sometime later down the line. But for the most part, it's like, hey, like, my ability to play this experience, in that raw example, I have a program on my computer, and I can fight against the computer adversary. TOS aren't legally binding. Well, not only are they not they're not legally binding, and I think when they demand things out of you, the user, they won't. They can't. Most TOSs are basically, we, the company, are able to do all this stuff, and you, as the user, get to do the same thing you used to do for Space War, which is to run it and then have fun. That was it. I'm like, that's the only thing you as a user get. You get this new game experience, but you don't get anything in return. You're paying more for these games as well. Maybe not more than back in the cartridge days. You're still paying a lot. You're paying a lot for these games. Also, I mentioned Space War because Space War is very much like a you against the computer. The logic of Space War generates its adversarial nature against you, the user, whereas, like, a lot of games were sort of Pong-based. They were just like, you know, you need a second player to be your adversary, so, yeah, Space War is a good one, because it's like, sorry, not Space War, Asteroids, sorry, not Space War, Asteroids. They're all in space, every game was in space back then, I don't know why. Sorry, yeah. Space War is like the first game. Asteroids is the one I was thinking of off the top of my head. Yeah, Asteroids. I got it so wrong. But yeah, oh, he's red. Vile shade. What do you mean? He's red. So yeah, any other points he says? Intellectual property. Space Invaders is not... That is true. Space Invaders is it's about things from space, but it's not in space. So he goes into intellectual property. That whole, like, yeah, you know, like, do they have the ability to distribute server software or really any kind of, you know, like, will you be able to sub out these components, and especially components they didn't write? I think that is a valid point that complicates this. I don't think the law should really care how insanely overcomplicated game developers have made this for themselves. I do think that. I'm like, I don't care. You didn't have to do it like this in the past. I don't know why it's such a big problem that you have to reel it back in. Other than, of course, it costs more. And I get that. But, like, you're all making record profits. You've got the capability to put in the time and effort to do it right. You know, like, reel it back a bit. Let the consumers gain something out of this experience. Anything else as well? I think that's kind of it. I don't think there's... Yeah, oh yeah, there was a point from Pirate Software as well. He said, that... What is this? He did a thing where it's like, if someone takes the time to develop a complete live service game and has the money to run service for even as little as a few weeks, they could spare a couple hours to make private service possible and to prevent people from monetizing. I'm just reading this article. Monetizing over their game while it's still in service, they could just not release the server software. Yeah, this was a point as well, monetizing server software. So one, like, I feel like people should be able to monetize running a server of a game because it takes hardware, it takes resources to do. I do feel like, you know, if you do run something like that, I would generally say, hey, be nice and, like, be public about how much money you're earning because of that, and then also maybe you could negotiate with the company to sort of say, hey, you know, like, this is our game, can you give us a little bit of a royalty for that one? I'm not too sure if, like, as an easy, like, enforceable way to do that, maybe, you know, once you have that in... I don't know, actually, because software is distributed with terms, and they expect the same thing. Like, you have to give Epic Games money for the Unreal Engine after, you know, so much money you make. That's fun. So, I don't know, a part of me feels like maybe this could be part of your own terms of service, where it's like, if you monetize it, you can't, like, just take 100% of the profits, or you can permit for that, whatever. But yeah, he brought up, so Pirate Software brought up this point, which is people could run exploits and bots on the main servers, kill the game, and then run their own private service that they charge for entry. This happened with Team Fortress 2, apparently, and I was like, man, I missed this bug, apparently. I do remember the bot situation for TF2 was actually kind of wild. Like, it was real bad for the cheats. It got dialed back, though. They've actually fixed this up now, so that's all good. Interestingly, there's another game that this article mentions as well, which is Titanfall, which is like, it literally had the same problem, and the community servers fixed it. There's a thing called North Star, and there's an actual community effort to substitute out the multiplayer component of Titanfall for one that actually has better cheat detection and all that stuff. And so it's like, simultaneously we have two sides of the same coin. The same issue handled in two different ways. Also, TF2 is open source now, so I guess, you know, like, in theory, maybe we actually have a proper solution to that as well. But, yeah, it's like, this is such a weird edge case, because one, the whole, like, how would I put it? This problem happens anyways. The law hasn't passed. Or, well, one, the initiative hasn't happened yet. The laws haven't been spoken about or passed yet. And yet, we have had both examples of the good and the bad happen. Like, have you ever heard of private servers? I have heard of private servers that require money to join. I have. That they do exist. I think there exist RuneScape servers as well that have that kind of thing. I don't think they're big scale enough to really, like, demand very much money or be earning much money. I think it's mostly just to sort of prevent the bots from getting in, like, they, you know, on their server, basically. Like, we don't permit people unless you have, you know, chipped in or done something, I don't know, something like that. But it's like, yeah, but they do workarounds to not make the access itself cost money because then they would be open for... Yeah, I think there's bound to be, like, something deeper... Or something, how would I put it? Like, I think it does depend on the game itself, because I do know, I mean, there's people who make so much money off Minecraft, for example. And not even just like, oh, you know, like, I have a Minecraft server and you have to pay for access, although I do know those exist. But also, like, literally, like, I just run infrastructure and then it's just like, here's a button and now you run Minecraft servers. I'm like, does that not also count in the same boat of monetizing this game's content? There are so many games that use the likenesses and even the imagery of Minecraft in their selling of, you know, like the hardware or the virtual hardware. So, I think there's a lot of examples to sort of bring up. And then, yeah, the last thing that Pirate Software brings up is that this doesn't actually preserve live service games because the state in which they will be left in after most of the player base quit would be bad news. Would be bad, and that some experiences would need... What was it? Some experiences need to only sell a license so it could be revoked for cheaters. Yeah, okay, so his point here is that Final Fantasy XIV, he likes it when there were a lot of people playing the game. And by having... That's kind of annoying to sort of have to deal with this guy while everyone's fogged as well, because no one is getting past these guys, apparently. Jeez. We're just gonna cast Boom and hope for the best. There we go. Oh, not enough MP! Oh! So over. Okay. This case, this point about how, like, a live service game only makes sense when it has so many players is, like... That's not a valid point, if that makes sense. Like, the specific people on a game at a very certain point in time are not requirements for preservation. Also, I would really like for every game to have bot support. I really want the ability to populate every game I have ever played with virtual people who could act just as well as the people who were there at that time. Like, that would be an absolute dream, and I'm like, every time, you know, we talk about the AI stuff, and I'm like, why have we still not gone for this point? This would be something so amazing. Is it preservation in the sense of, like, you know, not quite exactly. I don't think I'd want to recreate every single real person there, and obviously as well, when people talk about, you know, like, bringing a game, you know, from a live service game into something self-hosted, an obvious point to also mention, data is usually, like, not shareable. You are very most likely not going to be able to share the official game's instance data for certain games, because it's just like, it contains so much stuff. It might contain billing data, it might contain shipping data, all this stuff. I think there's probably a lot of games that, you know, when they say, oh, we will, you know, we have a decommissioning period, you know, a end-of-life plan, it's like, yeah, I'm not too sure if they'll be able to give you the data of what happened. I think maybe they'll give you software and let you, you know, run your own community instances like this. But yeah, I think there's probably a lot of weird edge cases. So, I've written a few kind of extra questions, because as much as I do agree with the initiative, and I do disagree with Pirate Software on almost all of his points, because I actually don't think they're very valid points. Since we can't preserve the 100% accuracy... Oh, exactly, yeah. It's like, it's not an all or nothing thing, preservation. And certainly, live performance is you know, like, you can capture it. We can capture it with videos. You might even be able to capture it with network packets. That's always a fun way of preserving things. So say, for example, you could actually, like, preserve the PCAP of, like, a Fortnite event or something, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can replay this Fortnite game because I actually have all the network packets that made it. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff could happen. Probably won't, but it could happen. But yeah, I have a couple of questions, and this will complicate the discussion. I don't think it should stop the initiative in any way, because I do agree with it. But I do have a bunch of questions about games that have interesting, quirky things to consider. So the first one I have is, when we say a game has a sunset period, what, like, and we're talking about preserving, I guess the question is, what do we capture when we preserve the game? I think the easy answer is to say, okay, well, you know, we use The Crew as an example, or Dark Spore, or Battleborn. There's tons of games. It's like, the game really existed in, like, one state with bug fixes, basically. It might have had a bit of extra content here and there, but yeah, for the most part, it's like the game came out, and that was it, and then it was sunset at some point. Overwatch is a tricky one, because if someone was to say, oh, like, let's say Overwatch 2 shut down at the point in time, like, before they introduced 6v6 again. What, like, is Overwatch 1 not preserved in the mix? You know what I mean? Like, where do you capture the game in a state that you can then run it offline or with server software? Do we need all versions of the server software? Sometimes server software or backend infrastructure exists in a state outside of client releases. So even clients might not even be aware that the server software was up to a certain point in time or something. Do they have to document the entire state of the game at all times? I think the easy answer is no, probably not. I think it's very easy to just say the state of the game at the end of the game is most likely the state that you'd sunset with. I think probably the legislature will probably lean down that route. A lot of companies, yeah, old school RuneScape is an example, and also the fact that, like, we have 2006scape and 2009scape. We have examples of old school RuneScape servers that captured certain rule sets at point in time. So it's not the way, you know, like, I don't think it's definitely not an impossible thing, but also I think there is appeal across the board of, like, picking time points. Also, TF2 Classic was an example as well. That was a fun one that existed. So, but yeah, I think it's worth bringing that up. I think the answer is probably the end of game state, but I do hope that games don't ruin themselves. And I said this last week as well in my fun soliloquy, but Steam is probably the best client in the world because it lets you download any client, any, like, version of a game that was ever distributed to clients. It's very hidden underneath a command line interface, but in theory, it is there. You can indeed query Steam CMD for all the depots of a certain Steam app ID, and you can indeed download all the files at any that were issued at any singular point in time, because that's just how it works. Thank you, Gavin. But yeah, it's like, that is such, again, it is a very forward-looking feature because that kind of stuff makes me happy. I can download the version of San Andreas that actually has the soundtrack that it had when I bought it. Do not tell people that technically if you bought the San Andreas in, like, at least before the definitive edition came out and they took down the old versions of San Andreas, if you bought the game at that point in time, and it definitely didn't have some of the songs because they removed it because of licensing, technically you could have downloaded the old versions. Steam doesn't stop you from downloading versions from well before when you bought the game, but hey, you know, like, that's a technicality. And also, I don't care, because music licenses is silly. You release the product, it's right there. EB Games sells Gran Turismo 4 with a bunch of songs that they clearly don't have the rights to keep selling, but they do it anyways. Who's suing them for that? No one, because it's silly. Oh, we suddenly got normal encounters again, so. So, what else did I say? Are there any other kinds of scenarios that we see for games relying on network dependencies? Because, yeah, I mentioned DLC activation, and I want to say Burnout Paradise, the original version, when you booted it up, actually, like, or sorry, when you got past the title screen, you were trying to get into the game, it would actually try to web query a website and then render it in the game. Like, you know, here's a web browser in the game. And that server was taken down so long ago, and I think that website actually might have been pointing to a new location that I don't know if it exploited a virus or something. I'm not too sure, but I remember having to black hole that domain in my Windows host file in order to basically get the page to never load, to then work. That was what I had to do. If it wasn't Burnout Paradise, it might have been some other game, but I remember doing that for one game. It's like, you don't do that unless you're cracking an Adobe product, you know what I mean? Like the fact that like we had to do that is very absurd. But domains running out is always a dangerous thing, and honestly, again, it's always gonna happen. Like the Quake 3 example is neat, but yeah, you know, like obviously, you know, like what's the downside of the Quake 3 example? Well, one person's serial key will work on other people's serial keys. I think maybe they patched it later, but to sort of have that functionality, it seems odd to me. It also has Punk Buster, and Punk Buster is its own dependency. But they seem to be able to distribute with that whenever, so... But yeah, there's tons of dependencies. Denuvo is also a fun dependency as well, because everyone always has a big risk with Denuvo that when the domain that Denuvo, you know, hosts their stuff at goes down, and they cannot authorize the game starting up, it's over. That game doesn't work. And you'd basically have to crack the game in order to get it to work, which isn't that fun? It's like the thing that the pirates do ends up being the only way to actually play a game after a certain point in time. That happens so many times because all of these DRM texts go in and out of fashion. Denuvo seems to be lasting at least a decade. But, like, that's it. That's the only thing I can say about it, is that Denuvo hasn't died immediately. Lots of these sleepy people here. What else we got going on? I got a list of places I want to get to. Look at this weird building here, you know? Oh, because we got another one of these. Oh, wait. It's the betting arena. That's what it is. The hot monster bell. Oh my gosh. I didn't know you feel that way about it. Also, is that a bank where I can deposit my money? No. I thought it was a bank where I could deposit money. We might as well bet something. Let's just have a go at this again. I mean, the dragon's gonna win, right? Yeah, the dragon's gonna win, so... But yeah, any other dependencies? There's dependencies on hardware as well, and I mentioned the real tone USB cable, but again, that one is like, that's like a hardware dependency. The game flat out will not start up, or at least will not get through for Rocksmith, it will not get through the early, like, menus of the game if you do not have this specific USB device installed. Or you use the one program that, you know, like, monitors the executable and basically just pretends that it passes, and then just uses a microphone. Like, literally just use a USB interface that you know, just use that. That works pretty fine. I'm not too sure if it's actually perfect. I get, like, sometimes latency issues, so I do want to see if I can sort that out. Wow, my prediction worked. I'm not going to make any money off this, but I don't care. How is he going to win this as well? I'm curious. This is gonna be the saddest fight I've ever seen. He'll get there, but... what else as well? I wrote down, is the time effort worth it without the legislature? I think the easy answer is no. Because I don't think there's really any return on doing this kind of stuff. What I do hope, though, is that... One, I really hope game companies stop just, like... How would I put it? They stop not selling games. I really do want... Yeah. The same amount of money. I'm good. Here's my money. I really want games to, like, be sold forever. And I think that the whole idea of your game has a license and you can only sell it for a certain amount of time is absolute bull honky. You made a game, like, you should be able to sell that game forever. Because you put in the time effort for that one. If you got a license, it's like, oh, freaking negotiate the license to be one-off or royalties or whatever while the lifetime of the service is up, you know, that kind of stuff. But it shouldn't be like freaking, oh, sorry, you know, like Fmod, I only use Fmod as an example, I really don't know if they're like this, but it's like, oh, Fmod doesn't let us, you know, like, keep selling it, so, sorry. You should see the old man who lives in the temple here. I wonder where that temple is. Oh, look, a temple. Jerk. Absolute jerk move there. The music oh yeah, the music industry is screwed for that reason, yeah. Do I have? Because I got no magic on him. We're gonna have to wing the hits for a bit. Oh my gosh. I don't think I'm winging the hits. We're gonna come back to you. We'll heal and come back, because then I have the magic to actually do this. But yeah, the music industry is screwed for that reason. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, what else as well? Yeah, what are some weird examples? And I had a weird one. It didn't end up this way, but here's one that I thought was quite interesting. Do you remember that Cooking Mama game that they didn't actually have the rights to sell? That was a bit of a weird one. Did they give refunds for people at the time? Including physical? I'm actually curious, but a part of me goes, what if the game was taken down because of a copyright issue? Like, literally, you bought a game, and it's not like... yeah, the Switch one, yeah. Like, this was a real recent example as well, which is a very odd thing to sort of say, but yeah. But, like... This is not a, oh, like, we need to end of life the game. This is like a, you cannot buy this game anymore. And I know as well that game is like, it doesn't have any dependencies. It sort of was just like, oh, it's one and done. It exists. It's up. So I don't think that's like the best example. But imagine a game that did have always online features get taken down for, you know, like that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, okay, like, I don't have the rights for it. What happens there? Like, which overrules the other one? Most likely, I would probably say, to get across the Demon King Zone, you need 3 things. The Sunstone, Rain Staff, and the Crest. Once you obtain them, make your way to the Sacred Shrine. Cool. Thanks, bro. Yeah, there's a lot of places that tell you about what you need, but they don't actually have it. So... let's return to Don Medora, because I think this will actually be an easier walk from here. We need to go that south path, so, but yeah, I don't know, I think there's probably some weird examples in there. Yeah, the other one as well that I wanted to mention, yeah, the Guitar Hero use case, you know, like, how does... Also, I'm taking a bit of a beating on this one, jeez. Can't even hit him. Man, if only I could heal the whole party, you know? That. Heal. Where's it gone? Oh, heal us. Is it not? What? Where is it? Heal. I'm blind, I tell ya. Might as well cast Boom. You know, why not? But yeah, like I bring up the Guitar Hero example. Guitar Hero World Tour is a game that exists, and Guitar Hero World Tour requires at least one piece of hardware in order to be played. You either need a guitar controller, which then detecting that you've got it plugged in because it's USB for. I think actually no, it's controller on the PS2. It's got the little add-in kind of bit on the Wii and stuff like that. Drums are the same thing. It's just a different thing you plug in. Or if you don't have that, the game goes, well, you must be singing with the microphone, and the microphone. Don't attack air. Oh my gosh. And the microphone is a specific USB Logitech microphone that if you do not have, the game will not work. And that game is effectively useless if you do not have one of those peripherals. If we say, oh, you know, the game's got an end-of-life support, and it's that's the game, what do you do there? It's like, oh, well, like, you need to somehow have the ability to, you know, like, have this hardware. For the Logitech microphone, most likely it's like, well, Logitech just, you know, support it, I guess, or whatever, or we'll patch it such that the game works with all microphones. Maybe that will be the way to go about that. But yeah, oh my gosh, now we've got 3 of them. They're just multiplying. All I want to do is take them out before they take me out with the easy attacks. Microphones are... Yeah, E-kits exists. Yeah. I'm actually not too sure what's the way third-party controllers do it. Because I think what it is that they've either reversed the protocol, which is not too bad, because it's really just like, you know, like a Wii plug-in thing. It's like, well, it probably just identifies what it is. There's probably a developer kit or something, documentation on how to do that, and they just sort of went, oh, well, it's literally a thing with buttons. Like, a guitar controller for Guitar Hero is not, like, mysterious science. It's literally more buttons. So, it's not too secret at the end of the world. But I am curious as well if they've also just reused internals from, like, real controllers and then just went, oh, we can literally, like, print that. And so we can just make new things that just claim they're guitars, and we didn't even have to reverse engineer or anything. We just, you know, dumped the NAND and went for it. So maybe that will be how, you know, that goes for hardware-based, peripheral-based games in the future. You know, like washing machine game. Although washing machine game actually is an interesting one because they don't even sell that to non-arcades. So, yeah. What else have I got here? Yeah, why stop at video games as well? This is an interesting point I have, which is like, what we've discussed is very much a something that plagues software, just in general, and somewhat hardware. I think this idea of you bought a piece of software, you should have the ability to continue using that piece of software indefinitely in the state. I'm a little bit on the fence about, like, yeah, stuff that is, like, subscription-based, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, like, you know, if you bought, say, for example, Microsoft Office 2013 or something, you should have the ability to, I guess, like, use that software as long as it remains compatible. So, most software doesn't have the concerns. I think that is true, but... And isn't that weird as well? It's like, you would think software with, like, validation servers, which I think will come up. I think someone's probably got an example somewhere where it's just like, oh, like, here's a you know, a program where I have, like, Avid Sibelius 7 and Avid doesn't have their servers up or something. And so I can't authorize the program, which means I can't open it. You know, that kind of stuff I think gets to me as well. I think that probably will happen. But, like, that seems to be, like, the only situation I can think of with programs like that. Oh, here's another weird use case. The difference is software that is usually seen as an yeah, exactly. Like, those are a lot more utilitarian So, yeah, like, from an artistic angle, I guess preservation... I don't know. I don't think preservation should really care whether something is artistic or utilitarian. It kind of is like, whatever. It belongs in a museum. And since it's digital, it's like, well, you can copy it very, like, seamlessly, very flawlessly. And therefore, you don't need a museum, because you don't need people to curate and take care of this thing. It's like, literally, copy it. There you go. Now there's another copy of it. We can keep making more of this forever. The only reason why copies are sacred... Also, this is a fun situation I'm in. The reason why copies are sacred is because copyright is insanely aggressive. You're not allowed to copy things. It's illegal. So... governments are stupid and stubborn. Stubborn, yes. Stupid, I'm not too sure if they actually are stupid. I think that they have made a very calculated decision in most cases as to why copyright laws are the way they are. And unfortunately, it is in the mix of the consumers did not have the bargaining power. The idea in my head is that, like, we've got the trifecta. We have consumers, we've got the corporations, and we've got the government. And ideally, all three of them benefit, in all ways, shapes, and forms. But obviously, they're going to tug at each other. Corporations know that, like, they can gouge more money out of consumers, but you have to do it underneath, the, I guess, like, the permissions of the law. Citizens can vote on the law. They're the biggest voting power. That should always be reminded. But ultimately, like, citizens are highly convinced by corporations, corporations are highly bound to governments, and governments are highly bound to citizens. That should ideally be how that all works out. The problem comes from when the citizens don't end up being the voting kind of wing, if you know what I mean. Like, there's, bring out the Illuminati, bring out the whole secret government thing, but it's, like, legit. Like, if the citizen vote doesn't actually mean anything, if the voice of the citizens isn't heard, then... that is the problem. That's not the problem, but, like, that is a problem. It's like, okay, cool, like, the companies are gonna do stuff, and then they just self-elect themselves back in. Like, cool, we are losing power there, so, I don't know. I appreciate this effort from, being a civilian's, I guess, initiative in that sense. It's like, it's literally like, yeah, I don't care that, like, it's bad business for the companies. It's like, well, it's not killing business for the companies to do this. And it means a lot to the people who did buy this kind of stuff, and never mind the cultural, kind of influence as well. So, what else as well? Yeah, one of the points that Cursed Farms made was, this will trickle into, so, even though that this is just the EU and the UK, this will trickle into other countries, because, I guess, like, if you've done it once, you might as well do it globally. And a part of me goes, maybe. But also, I would like to bring up one interesting example. It's not games, but did you know that iPhones... Oh, you know what's also bad for business? Having to put pictures of smokers' lungs on packets of cigarettes. We do that in Australia. It doesn't stop people, apparently. Also, the excise tax is insane. It costs like $45 for a pack of cigarettes, I think. I don't know, actually. I don't smoke, so... Especially considering how important video games now are in the general cultural status of people. Same level as books and... Oh, exactly. Video games should not be accepted. Like, sorry, they shouldn't... Like, video games should be considered important works of media in the same sense of movies and books and music. All this stuff should be, like, captured and preserved in some way. And I do think that it's such a shame when games come out. Also, Magic Weapon War. It's such a shame that there's so many games that do get lost to time. And it's like, yeah, like, it's a lot of things, because, like, software is a complex beast as well, and we have the capability to capture it so perfectly, and yet we don't have the original source code to Final Fantasy X because it got deleted. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, like, ugh. So I have a fun example, by the way, of why just because it's in the EU doesn't mean the world will benefit from it. So today, you can't consider sales numbers alone for people affected. Oh, exactly, yeah, that as well, yeah. So my example is, did you know that iOS in the EU supports third-party app stores? This was a recent court... Was it a court order? Oh boy, that's fun having confusion there. There was a court order, and I think, also healing. Oh. And it was basically like it was anti-competitive to not have, to not have third-party app stores. So, like, sort of be like, oh, you know, like, here's your hardware, and you basically force people to give Apple 30% on everything because you're Apple. That's what you did. Yeah. So now, if you are in the EU, you now have the ability to sideload programs onto your... Oh my gosh, by the way. How do I, like, fix confusion? It's not numb off, is it? No. How do I fix confusion? Do I even have? I don't think I have a fixed confusion. No. It's the one Wyvern as well, and he just keeps healing himself as well. Was he really healing himself? Who knows? I am very confused. Yeah. So anyway, I mentioned that because the moment that your phone geographically leaves the EU, Apple proceeds to lock you out of the feature of sideloading apps. They have intentionally programmed the ability to detect that this feature can be turned off. Like, also I love how I have only 10 magic on that again, so... Anyways, all of this was just to get to the shrine, so it wasn't really too bad at the end of the day. I hate humans, but I like Ortega. He'll slay the Demon King. Okay. Cool. I'm a fairy who intended to Rubus in the past. On that day, 5/5... Oh yeah, you remember I set that date? It was I who called you in Rubus's place. I may have said terrible things then, forgive me. But now, Biendeo, you have finally come. I wish to confer the rain staff to you as a token of my feelings. There we go, look at that. It was worth it in the end. So that's so cool. Alright, I'm now gonna do a warp all the way... There's not an end of stream statement there. We're gonna warp all the way back out to Aliahan. You might be thinking Aliahan ages ago, right? Yes. One, because the mum heal is all too powerful. No, we're not doing it. I'm gonna keep it right into 3 hours for the Dragon Quest because I think the momentum is really good for the 3 hours. Oh, it's not over yet. Exactly. You're not gonna heal me anymore? Come on, Mum. Come on. She ain't healing me. It's so over. Well, we're gonna have to warp to everyone's favorite place then. Dharma. Every single time. It's always Dharma, isn't it? Can't believe Mum doesn't give me free, you know, rests anymore. Getting kicked out of home. Oh well. So yeah, so the iPhone case is an example where the EU, just because the EU has required it, does not mean the rest of the world gets it, which is such a shame. I'm not too sure if we'll exactly see that in this case, because it's not like when you've put in the effort to make, you know, like, to allow the ability to run, you know, third-party servers or anything off all your software in such a way that you can, you know, stop your, you know, your first-party support. I don't exactly think that it's really a money-making scheme to then, like, you know, not tell, I guess, Americans the same info. I get that, so I think it makes sense, but I would definitely say it's not a guarantee. I wouldn't exactly say that. So check out this castle up here. You know, this place. Sort of haven't really checked it out, but it is here. Horses! Welcome to the castle of the Dragon Queen. This castle is the closest to the sky world above. Oh my gosh. Horses. It's a big castle as well. Have I written down any other points? I think that's kind of it. That's kind of all my points I have for this initiative. So, I would still decently urge, if you are in the EU, and I know you've already done it, Fetty, but yeah, if you are in the EU, give it a sign, or at least give it a read, and give it a look over. I am so late to this, because the fact that like I'm responding to stuff from 10 months ago is insane. The fact I didn't know about Pirate Software defending this before I talked about him sort of getting dogpiled on back in February, I don't know, it's like, that was about something completely different as well. I will say, I don't want to point out, yeah, Mega Race for Sega CD had a set for a bit already, didn't it? Or is that the 3DO version? Did it have a 3DO version? Wirehead's got a set, so I'm happy there. Her Majesty is gravely ill. Kind of weird layout here, isn't it? We fear the worst. The Queen has little time left. I am the Queen of Dragons. I am a messenger of the gods. If you possess the courage to battle the Demon King, I will entrust you with the Light Orb. I will pray that the Light Orb will help bring about peace quickly. There you go, there's a Light Orb. For the sake of my unborn baby. Ooh. Sound of a gentle breathing. Oh, Your Majesty. Oh, that was some poor timing from my part, wasn't it? She's gone. This poor dragon that I knew for like 2 seconds. It is a big egg, though. Well, at least they will protect the egg, and I got an orb for my troubles. It's kind of. I think this is only available once you have beaten Baramos. I could have visited here at any time, but I just thought, oh, you know, they started telling you about this. Well, they didn't change their dialogue. It's just kind of interesting. Hey, Kiwis can do it. That is true. Kiwis are very impressive. So I don't know why I'm like sailing away here. We've already explored half the continent, so let's return back to Tantegel and check out the other direction. So, okay, so we've already gone here. Or actually, I'd buy the shield while I'm at it. Actually, do I need to buy the shield? I've already got the hero shield. I'm sort of. Oh yeah, I do need to buy the shield. Yeah. I was like, who am I buying the shield for? And the helmet would be good too. But we'll start with the shields. There we go. Silver shield. Good stuff. And we'll continue heading east, I guess, is the direction I need to go in. Also, it's kind of fun seeing, like, Nyx just... his health, or her health, going up crazy amounts. Because being a warrior on that one. Here's the thing as well. A part of me is also like, ooh, maybe I should make Air a different class at some point. Because, like, the highest skill for a priest is unlocked at level 40, I think. 41. But, like, that's Kamikaze. I'm never going to use that. And so 38 is the other one. Because then you get, you know, proper full revive, and that might be very useful. Heal Us was the big one at 34, but, you know, we'll get to 38 kind of soon. There's also an achievement on Retro Achievements for just getting to level 40 with each class as well, so, I don't know, maybe we'll just go for that. Or I could just do that on my own, because I'm going to be grinding anyways. So, But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's everything I've got there. Yeah, Pirate Software, I do think he's very wrong on this one. I think he's a bit awfully dismissive. I think he's... well, not I think. He literally has said he's doubled down on all of his opinions as of a couple of days ago. And the Moist Critical video about the... about Accursed Farms sort of giving a post-mortem and then also reacting to the Pirate Software original statements, I think way back when. Like, I think that sort of spurred this back on again. So I do hope that, like, this is a bit more vocal, because I honestly didn't know about the initiative before, so I don't know, maybe it's like, well, it worked. Now I'm talking about it, and now I have opinions on it. So I guess there's that. I do wish Pirate Software, you know, like, changed his opinion on this. I mean, you know, because I don't think he's correct. Had a talk with Dr. K a while ago, and heard, well, he seems to be kind of clinical narcissist. Like, I don't know him enough, but it's like, the more I do, like, listen to him, the more I do tend to agree with that, and I hate that, because I'm like, man, you know, like, is that really the case? But he did... Yeah, he's like, sorry, not sorry. I was right the whole time, kind of sorries. This dragon is a real doozy. If you got the dragon sword, actually, this might still be an okay sword to use, because then you get the increased damage against these, but I'm going hard into using one sword, apparently. There you go. But yeah, like, there was some things he said as well, where it's like, oh, you know, like, you don't know game design, oh, I have so many... There was also this, yeah, he used the weaseling of, like, so many, like, game developers are, like, too afraid to speak up or else they get fired. And I'm just like... Bruh. One, that's a bit of weasel wording. Like, I've been there, I've done that, freaking, like, you can't say, oh, so many people agree with me, and then you can't say things, because I get your reasoning why you're not saying how many people, you know, actually back your opinion. But I think the whole point of why your videos are getting downvoted to oblivion is kind of like, hey, you know, like, I don't think it is a majority opinion. And then on top of that, I also think that you've been talking to not the right developers on this one. Like, not a no true Scotsman, but it's like, legit, it's like, I know developers who would love for this if they had the time and or the literal requirement from the government to do this. I would love, as a developer of a game myself, I would love for my game to be enjoyed forever and ever and preserved forever and ever. And I would like to be able to sell it forever and ever. You know, like that kind of reasoning. But it's like, it blows my mind that, like, for some odd reason, Pirate Software just makes the statement of, like, oh, game developers don't want this. I'm like, well, like, it's not a profitable thing, I get that, but, like, design your game with it in mind from the beginning, and it's, like, you know, makes it easy. Design your game with so many dependencies, and then go, oh, snap, we're gonna untangle the heck out of that. It's not easy. I do hope that, like, if this ends up being law, I do hope that there's a significant bit of time before it takes into effect, just to sort of, you know, stop the whole, hey, this game's been in development for 4 years, anticipating that AWS was still a thing. I also think this is not the... Yeah, this is not going to cross me over this time. Yeah, I think there's a dead end over here, so I've actually just wandered in this direction for, not really any gain, unfortunately. That's okay, though. This is where the boat comes into play. And also where all these goopies are going to come up. Ah! Well, if the goopies keep making goopies, then it's not the worst. But yeah. Yeah, ultimately, I just want Pirate Software to sort of understand his wrongs. I do think that the issue of this topic shouldn't involve him in particular. Just because he is a very staunch critic of the initiative doesn't necessarily mean that anything else he does is like, oh, absolutely reprehensible, you know, downvote his game on Steam to oblivion. I don't like that his game's been in early access for 7 years. I think that's insane that, like, your game is taking that long to like, be finished. Maybe it's because you're not working on it full-time, in which case, okay, but also part of me is also just like, yeah, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable buying or recommending games that take that long. But, like, that's got nothing to do with, like, this or him. I'll just be like that. But yeah, people downvote spamming is, like, his game on Steam. One, because they own it, I guess, because you can't write a review. Yeah, this is pure YouTuber drama. This is definitely, like... Well, also, the recent bringing up of it isn't even his doing. He's just got the original kind of criticisms, and the reason why I can find an article from months ago sort of talking about it is like, yeah, because it was months ago that this was his opinion. And he hasn't changed it, unfortunately, but... Yeah. But I do think that, like, his stance on, oh, games, you know, like, oh, it's too hard, or like, oh, games like this won't exist. I'm like, baby mode, man. Come on. Come on, man. You call yourself a developer, you can't solve these problems. And then when he says, oh, can you do it better? That's what I'm trying to do, man. I'm trying to do my best. Oh, snap, it's the edge of the world! You can't go that way. Ah, there's krakens in the water as well. Alright. So yeah, I think that was it. I had a real solid 2 hours of ranting about that. It is a flat Earth. Isn't it fun as well? Because, like, above it loops around. It's, kind of double cylindrical Earth. Seems to be attacking quite a few times here. Release the Kraken. There you go. Well, I got a bit of health, these Krakens. Before anyone asks, oh, why you, like, wondering why Rags is running out of MP and then you keep using full HP, and it's just like Rags casts like heal more like 4 times and you're just using 20 magic. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Release the baby. Let's go. So anyway, so let's sail around the north perimeter of the island. Or the land, I guess, because technically it's a couple of continents. With very, very close rivers connecting the two. Two? Might be a couple of continents, actually. Gosh, these Krakens, they really love the Krakens. Yeah. But yeah, is there any other big stories I had lying around? Did I have any other weird ones? Oh, I won't forgive, Pirate Software for DMCAing this one guy for, making a game that involves a cockroach. Well, it was a cockroach with his, like, wizard hat that he wears from time to time. And it was, like, Streamer Simulator and was obviously in reference to him. But then also there were other streamers in that game, and it's just like, I think he's just taking the piss out of everyone. Also, your physical presence is not, like, you can't copyright people from, like, I guess, like, how would I put it? I think you could send a cease and desist, maybe, but I'm not too sure if, like, legally you have any ground, like, your likeness is copywritten. And by your likeness, I mean, it's just the hat. I don't know, you could probably argue this or whatever. It's a cockroach in a hat. But yeah, any other ones? Yeah, he did respond to a few things as well. There was, as well, the claim I saw where his game has always online DRM, which is one of the reasons why he was adversarial about it. He denies that. I think his game might just have Steamworks calls, which is, you know, I guess, like, very likely for achievements, but, you know, I guess until I know more, I probably wouldn't jump so hard on that point. I think people are trying to, like, find, you know, anything on him, or get any dirt on him, so... I don't know, at some point, you know, my original topic on the dogpiling is still somewhat true, but then it's also like, I don't know, man, it's kind of self-inflicting on this one as well in places as well, so... it depends if you're an entertainer or not, if something in a specific appearance is part of your brand. Maybe, yeah. I say this knowing I ride the fine line of this Munchlax sprite that was in this one Korokoro magazine back in 2003 or 2004, constantly being in the corner of the screen in every stream I've done, and being my profile pic on YouTube and all these sites for like 17 years. No one has told me off on that one. It's more on the level of Slipknot and their mask 20 years ago. Maybe, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'd need to know more specific cases before I can really say, like, oh, you can't, like, send a DMCA on this one. I still think it's a little bit of a jerk move, because, like, at the end of the day, these other streamers didn't send DMCAs. It was just kind of him not liking his own likeness. And granted, it's a bit, you know, maybe a little defamatory. But, like, I don't know, calling someone a cockroach is, like... You know, like, it's just an insult. I don't exactly think it's like... You know, it's not slander, it's not libel. It's just like... Yeah. There was fun as well. There was an Australian Member of Parliament who got called a silly goose on Twitter, and he legitimately threatened to like, sue him for that one. And I was like, what on earth are you doing? I'm not too sure what he said it was, what law it was against. Are you apparently not meant to, or not allowed to insult members of parliament? I don't know. Silly goose is not even, like, a very deep insult. So, there's a tower here. I'm going to gloss right over it because there is a mountain here. The mountain is slightly more fun. Oh, snap. This is a battle and a half. I'm a country member. Yes, I remember. Yeah. What else do I have on my open tabs that are worth mentioning? I, for some odd reason, kept saying Sama instead of the full name. I don't know where the Sama came from. Maybe that was Sawa-sama. I hope she comes back to... Not base, because base isn't up, but... Back to the Fetty. No, Same Kosaba. That's the full name. Saba is the surname on this one. But no, she had a first stream yesterday, and then also did a karaoke stream today. And I'm very glad that this brand new VTuber, who sounds very similar to an existing VTuber, and she said she had been very lonely for the past month, and it was great to come back. Quote, that was in the debut stream. I'm like, ooh, a little bit of a breadcrumb there. But hey, you know, new persona, new whatever. I'm really glad that, like, you know, she's coming back in a good stride. And also, oh my gosh, she's nearly at 1 million subs. Like, I know, you know, big YouTuber, but at the time of recording, 920,000 subscribers. Oh yeah, because it's literally just this person. Same Kasaba, brand new VTuber, debuted yesterday morning, and yeah, 920,000 YouTube subs. Yes. There's a certain person who was a certain other VTuber's biggest fan, and then the moment this VTuber announced herself existing, that biggest fan suddenly was now this VTuber's biggest fan. So, also, I'm just saying that it's like no other VTuber can get away with like plushies and t-shirts and other merchandise stickers and stuff on a debut stream. It's like if it wasn't for the fact that we all know, then like yeah, you know. But hey, I'm happy. I'm happy, and ultimately, I think, you know, like it's not. This would be a wonderful paid promotion if it was, but no. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, if you are a content creator and you want to make cool content, I don't think. You know, I think this was the right amount of breadcrumbs, but also keeping in the spirit of VTubers being their personas and sort of like don't break character. You know, there's other ones, there's other characters that exist. You know, we all miss Pikami, but then also there's another VTuber who sounds very, very, very similar. And so, whatever happens, you know, it's great that there is a happy ending for the person behind the persona. Or just a new beginning, if they keep going on in some way. And also for the ones that do just retire. You know, that's fair as well, so... But no, that's good. I hope to see good memes and, good stuff out of this, this new VTuber in the mix. And, yeah. I hope people, you know, enjoy her for what she is. And enjoy all content creators for who they are. Don't rip into them just because they have terrible takes. Or actually do rip into them for their terrible takes. But if they got you know, a slither of good, you know, good intention or good outcomes, not good outcomes. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. But like if you smell the goodness that they're trying to bring, it didn't start with an R though. No, unfortunately, it didn't. There's still an open poll for what should her fans be called. One of the suggestions was the Kani crew, and Kani is Japanese for crab. But yeah, people are like, oh, that sounds familiar to another word. But I'm a big fan of. Someone suggested the saboteurs. I don't like that one, but I don't know. So, anyway, we're at Carcinization. So anyway, this town sells, the water robe. Also, it sells the shield, which I could buy one more of. It also sells this, Sage's Stone. So this is the town of, Cole, I believe. The Sage's Stone. Sorry, is that the Sage's Stone? Sorry, the Sage's Staff. But the Sage's Staff is neat, because it casts heal more. Crab people, crab people. It casts heal more, so it actually might be nice to sort of buy more of those just to hold onto characters who don't have heal more. It's actually not too bad there. Yeah, the zombie sword and the warhammer are weaker than what we've already got, so there's not really any reason to get those. But yeah, the blade armor is literally the armor that I have, and it might actually be the best armor for, yeah, the best armor for Nyx. There does exist a really, really good dress that will appear in the final dungeon, apparently. And on top of that, the main character gets another piece of armor anyway, so... Actually, at the end of the day, I don't need to buy another one of these if, yeah. Yeah, it should be fine not having to buy that. The water robe, the water dress is an interesting one, because, so the blade armor, doesn't reduce magic attacks, whereas the inevitable light dress will, and then also this water dress does. And water dress, unfortunately, can only be used by mages and sages. So, it'd be great for rags, but no one else. And then yeah, the Sage's Staff, I mean, yeah, you can see here's the 2 people who can use it. But yeah, we'll get the silver shield, and then we'll give it to Nyx. There we go. Now we're shielded up. Hopefully, we're taking even less damage. But I mean, that's the best shields that everyone can have, so... Must have been one amazing sword. When they tried to sacrifice me to the wicked monster Orochi, we fled. So we ended up in this world. Isn't that weird? The king's sword is supposed to be made of a metal called Oricon. I was swindled by a man named Kanda. He claimed to have the king's sword, but he sold me a steel sword. The jerk. I was just upstairs. Hi there. This is an item shop. How may I serve you? Ooh. Okay. And you proceed to... You sell Pierce. What is Pierce? That is... Oh! Okay. The earrings, and they literally just change your personality. They don't even have a stat boost on those ones, so that's an interesting one. Okay, what else you got going on here? If you had the Pixie Flute, the curse on Rubus should be lifted. Brosnan. What else have I got? Oh yeah. We had the one person mention this as well. Yeah, so the Pixie Flute is, I believe, somewhere around here. Youngsters, how about a morning bath outside? Ah, young people are different. We do get a tiny medal though, so there is that. So I believe it's somewhere around here, and it's actually, like, ironically, it's the same kind of instruction as it is in the first game when we had to find the flute. It was like one of these. I think it was actually maybe... Come on, it's one of these. There you go, it's a flute. How much is the inn? 124! Oh my gosh! We were hardly here. Jeez. Yeah, did I have any other things on my timeline? No. No, I think we're mostly good. Yeah, we were mostly ripping on pirate software. Seemed to be the topic, so I was like, I'm going hard into that one, but nah. All I want is the best. I want the best for him, so yeah. Very recently lost game was found. Not the DVD version of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. We can look in the well as well. Oh, you see what I did there. What's in the well? Oh, hi there. Hello, hello. Welcome to Coal Hot Springs renowned Pachisi track. So I think, yes, so here's a Pachisi track. I think this is actually the best one as well. So you could find some real good stuff on this one. So if we look at the map, this one goes around though. Almost complete version of Animaniacs Hollywood Hypnotics for the GBA. Cancelled just shy of being completed. That's always weird when they cancel it that close to release. So I think you end up in this loop and you have to go up the stairs. We'll see how this goes. 4. Time for a fight! The nice thing is that I have the Thunderblade, so I can just do this every time. Now you can play it. Very nice. Also, these are some very cruel attacks here. Good thing I have a heal all, so I can use a bit of magic on this one. It is weird for GBA games to sort of come out of the woodworks like that one, yeah. That was the phrase you just used, I know. I'm so glad I lost that in like 2 turns, by the way. I might as well bring this up as well. Let me see. They got the, there we go. Strategy Wiki has the appendices page, and it's worth bringing this up, but, this is that number 5? Oh no, it's number 4, actually. Which one's number 5? Oh, yeah, okay. So number 5 is strictly post-game. This is number 4. You can get, at the end... Speaking of Pirate Software, his nickname is Thor? That's not his real name. You can get a Thor sword for 65,000 gold. The Thor sword is very, very crazy expensive. It also is a drop from some enemies, but in theory, it is the best sword in the game for warriors, except for the... Yeah. No, it is. So you could find that in this dungeon. I think there's also Dragon Whip. Yeah, Gringham Whip as well. Yeah, some good stuff for beating these. Okay. Well, I think we need to take on that tower then. Something similar happened to Animaniacs game Treasure, made for the PS2, also cancelled right before release, then leaked onto the internet. I wonder who's been holding on to them. You know what I mean? Like, not to say it's like a deep conspiracy, oh, you know, they're not releasing it for some reason, but like, I wonder, like, who is holding on to these old copies of games? Or maybe they're just like, they're cartridges and they just float around and people don't realize what they are until someone with a dumper goes, oh snap, this is something new, and then goes for it. Because it's very easy to just think, oh, it's a game that already exists. I got a nut. You could play Nut outside! I've been recently playing through Rock Band Unplugged on the PSP, and my thumbs are sore, I tell ya. It's a very ouchies game, but I did regular 5-star Painkiller on Expert. So I'm doing okay there. But getting Gold Star is a different thing. Thank you, person on the Retro Achievements set for that game also. Cruel One. Full combo the song. Ouch. Ouch. Apparently the GBA game is a bit like the Dizzy games. Good old Dizzy. We will miss him. I say we will miss him as if he's gone. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm definitely enjoying Rock Band Unplugged. It's very much like, how would I put it? If you take Rock Band and then you, instead of forcing one instrument or forcing a co-op kind of experience. Also as well, Rock Band Unplugged on the PSP has no multiplayer. I thought that's an interesting one. Ah, Blizzard! Oh yeah, also, just while we're ripping on Pirate Software, I want to highlight one comment. Kept saying, you can take the man out of Blizzard, but you can't take the Blizzard out of the man. And I'm like, come on, man. That's so good, but also... told you not to break the... That is true. Sorry. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, when you take Rock Band and you get rid of its multiplayer component, and also when you take the songs and you get rid of, I guess, hammer-ons and pull-offs, effectively you have tap the notes game. It's very much just a tap the notes game. I'll talk about Death Stranding too. Well, actually, I don't have too much to say about it, other than I'm glad. I'm seeing people are enjoying it quite a bit, so that's a good sign. But I'm also seeing people sort of go, I don't know who's buying it. I think the answer is, it's a PS5 exclusive right now, which is very odd. I thought we were past this point, but nope, we've still got some exclusives coming out. Maybe I'll get there. I'll get there soon. But yeah, I'm curious as well because we've been through this for the first game. In fact, actually, didn't the first game have Epic Games exclusivity? Yeah, Ghost of Yotei as well. Yeah, didn't the first game have Epic Games exclusivity? For a bit? I think it did. But yeah, like, I did see one tweet that said sales of Death Stranding 2 is not looking very good compared to the first game. But, you know, as of last week's topic with that whole Sega makes like 60% of their company revenue through, or their gaming department's revenue through, like, old sales games that came out at least a year, or, you know, it had already been out by the time the financial year started, and it was still making tons of money. Persona 5 is a ridiculously well-selling game for that one. It's like, I don't know, a part of me goes, hey, if you make your game on as many platforms as, you know, you can, you know, maybe it won't pay off if you do it on every platform, but certainly PC seems to be working. PC really works. Okay, so we got a dungeon here, and this one's got a few floors involved. So speaking of Persona 5, everyone likes dungeons where you can't step on the floor. Look at that, a chest! And it was a mimic. Persona 5, The Phantom X also came out. That one's like a free-to-play game, isn't it? My mates who like free-to-play games have just been playing Uma Musume. So... rip air. Rip air, because that was like one hit as well. A full-fledged Persona 5 game? That's interesting. I do think that the mobile game market is, like, quite, like, dynamic right now. Like, it's like what is, you know, like the big... Sorry, like there's mobile games where it's like, oh, they're not, like, too far off the mark compared to... Yeah, they're not, like, too far off the mark compared to, like, regular games. And yeah, it's on Steam, yeah. But... I don't know, I don't really play, you know, mobile games really anymore. I guess I played Infinity Nikki, that kind of counts, but... I got too much going on to get into a mobile game right now, so... Also, I guess I would actually just play older Persona just because I haven't played Persona, so... you can leave the dungeon here, I believe. Yeah. Just kind of interesting, you can just leave. That's good, though. I gotta be careful because they've got bounce. So bounce is like a flat-out hard magic resist. And that also counts healing, so if you're... Relatively little FOMO is still a little bit of FOMO, but... Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd need to, yeah, play Persona. I feel like, especially after just beating Xenosaga 2, and I've still got Shining Force 2 as well, I'd want to play Xenosaga... What, you've just fled? I want to play Xenosaga 3 at some point. I didn't even realize I started Xenosaga 1 in April. It wasn't that long ago, so the fact that I've done both games in the quarter is like, oh, okay. I've made some decent progress, I guess. This is an interesting dungeon, because you got these floor icons, which you can see are good memes. They change which direction up, down, left, and right actually do. Yeah, it's not going anywhere, hopefully. I mean, I guess Sega have been... And they actually had some kind of misses with their recent mobile titles that also came up in the thing. So for reference with these icons, what you do is that you look towards the like the darkened part, and that's where down faces. So here it's like you turn the controller, you know, 90 degrees to the left, and then it goes in that direction. So here it's like, oh, down is that way, so I really want to go up, and then up, yeah, just up the whole way. Oops, I'm going that way, and now I go right, right, left, left. It's a bit cheeky. Love ring. Life acorn. Flame boomerang. This is actually a really good boomerang, and actually, I'm pretty sure we could have gotten it quite a while ago. Unfortunately, only the main character can hold it. That's actually pretty okay, because remember, the boomerang hits everyone, so if you want to deal a fairly decent amount of damage to everyone, it's not the worst. But I wouldn't equip it for single combat encounters. Whoops, wrong way. These lions hit hard though, I tell ya. But yeah, I'm enjoying Shining Force 2 a bit. I'm actually finding it a little bit more approachable than the first game as well, just because my main character isn't an absolute wuss and dies in one hit. Unfortunately, yeah, that rat character is, for me, just he's not getting anywhere, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, no, we'll keep making more progress in that one. I don't have too much to say there. And then, yeah, other than that, that's kind of it for what I've been playing. Just like bits on and off of, did I beat anything else? Right, oh. Right, left, right, nope. Left, right. We've got more chests up here. More money. I gotta pay tax on this one as well. The amount of money I've found in chests this stream, I tell ya. A strength ring. Gotta have at least one. Well, we had one downstairs, didn't we? See, this would be a fight where it's like the boomerang does not help. I want to deal lots of damage in one hit. Oh, he's going for the double hit. Oh, he tried. He tried, but failed miserably. And now he is dead. I mean, they're really not worth it at the end of the day. There we go. So heading over here. More stairs. Mimic dead, exactly. Remember when they gave troubles at the beginning of the game? Yeah, I remember. So if we go up here, I think if we go across... Oh, here we go. There's a chest out in... Oh, this is going to be a fight. There's a chest out in space. Everyone likes a good old chest in space. Don't kill me. Ah! I do not like the auto kills. But yeah, so Godot update. Let's have a Godot update on this one. I've learned more about the Godot engine in the past week. I have spent the time to follow along with main character died. I've spent the time to follow along with their tutorials, you know, what's the fundamentals of the engine, and then what's the, you know, I guess they've got their making a simple 2D game, and then making a 3D game that's sort of very much like the 2D game. The only game engine... Have you been waiting for Godot? I haven't been waiting, fortunately. It's been pretty good. I know you're probably saying that because I said here's an update from them. Simple 2D tower offense and a small game jam. Yeah, I want to learn how to like really make games quickly, because I've started to sort of, now once I've gotten that tutorial understanding, I've started to dive in with the actual, like, okay, like, let's start making the driving game, because that was the plan, is to make the driving game. And they've got you know, some classes and sort of objects out of the box to make a car. It's a thing, it's like a vehicle 3D, it's got wheel components, and the wheel components have engine. That was a bit of a rookie error for me. Got the skull floor and everything. I don't trust the goopies on this one. Yeah, I've got a revivability on both Air and Rags, so that's good. And also, yeah, Air is close-ish to an actual, like, full revive ability. But then, yeah, there's also the leaf from the Yggdrasil that I just haven't picked up, and that's just a single item you can hold on to that will allow you to do a full revive as well. It's always useful probably having one of those left over. Oh, famed Samuel Beckett play name Waiting for Godot. Ah, there you go. So yeah, so I've got a car, and the car goes forward, and you can turn it, and there's no, how would I put it? There's no acceleration on the car's acceleration, I guess. Like, like third derivative kind of, you know, like how quickly do you accelerate? But yeah, I mean, like, the way I want the controls to be is that when you are using, like, a keyboard and you're using digital controls, you want that to be, it is slowly approaching. We're almost there. We're almost there. Because all I gotta do is explore this tower and then we're good. Right in the middle. Right in the middle. So, yeah, what I want is that when you're using, like, keyboard, you want there to be some, you know, a little bit of I guess, a linear interpolation up to the full amount. So you want to be able to sort of tap accelerator. I know you can't really, like, provide half throttle using a keyboard, really, unless you had a specific key for half throttle. You know, a part of me feels like so many people just fell asleep, and also Blizzard, ouch! And maybe this is worth a run. Yeah, I'm like, that one's a bit of an ouch scenario. That's gonna bite me tomorrow. There we go, so, oh, down, 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 there we go. This chest contains the light armor. You know, the really good armor that I was wanting this whole time. So, let's... Did that go to Rags? Yes. This goes to the main character, and it's really good. And then also the blade armor is ever so slightly better to have over the Terra armor. Actually, is it? Yeah. I mean, it's got 5 more defense. But the Terra armor... the Terra armor does reduce breath damage. Whereas this is like the Reflect. We'll still do it. Just for funsies. Actually, I might as well fall down here, because there's nothing else on this floor, I think. So now we go back down our death floor, and we head around to the left. And around clockwise. There we go. But yeah, so I spent a fair bit of time figuring out sub 8 hour stream. It is sub 8 hours, I'll tell you that. I spent a bit of time trying to figure out just like car physics, and a part of me feels like I don't really quite know how to make a track really quickly, because I really want to, like, have a... Oh, we're not doing 4 hours. We're going to wrap up pretty soon after this, because this dungeon's not too long. Must be a classic boom scenario here. Yeah, the thing I was struggling a fair bit was just sort of understanding the physics a little bit. Like, how do you get your mesh object and then you create, like, I guess a collider or something based on what this mesh is like, or, you know, lining up your cube mesh to sort of line up. That kind of stuff's a bit tricky. But yeah, I really want, like, a simple track that is roughly to scale, just so I can sort of start actually basing the car's behavior off of a correctly sized kind of environment. So I'll probably take like an image of some other, you know, track from some other racing game, and we'll just sort of remodel it, and then we'll go with that. Only for testing, of course, not gonna ship the game with like a real you know, circuit, I guess. I don't have the rights for that. So anyways, jump off here and we go back in. Classic dungeon that does that. Ooh. So I think we go up this way. And then you gotta be careful again, because they keep doing this to you. And then we got more stairs. And then more stairs. And then, we cross on over. Oh, there's more stairs at the end. Finally got the bot. The bot finally bless us with the best viewers. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, like, we rip on Marathon. That's apparently coming out at some point. Not this year anymore, I guess. But we rip on it for using, like, stolen textures. And I'm like, you know, for pre-release or testing... Actually, not for pre-release, because pre-release includes showing off to the public. But for, like, really internal stuff, it's like, people use, like, likenesses and details from other things all the time. It just helps, you know, like, speed things along the process, as long as you sub it out with something real later on. That is definitely my intention. This is the floor, by the way. These are just raw dragons right here. This is the true test, the raw dragon floor. Although they have accented letters, weirdly. Yeah, they use a lot of weird ones. And it's weird as well, because it's like... I wonder if just saying, like, the words... Don't actually do this. But, like, saying the words best viewers... Like, casually triggers... You know, this kind of, like, thing to kick in. What? You heal and then you ran? You heal and then you ran. I don't get it. The dragons don't have too much health, actually. This would actually be a good use case for AI. Oh, exactly, yeah, like... A lot of AI... I mean, the easy thing as well is that for most of these characters, it's just like... Can you down sample the you know, like that's B with an accent, that's E with an accent. Check out the statue. It's a beautiful goddess. Wow. How cool. Oh, yes. Yes. I was like, what am I doing here? There's a salamander, although we fought. Yeah, diacritics are cool. Yeah, true. But diacritics don't, like, they're extra characters, except they sort of smush for readability reasons. But, like, in theory, it's like if you strip all the extra characters, you should be able to detect a lot of words. So let's go up to this guy, and then, I don't know, who's holding on to this? Are you holding on to it? Yeah, you're holding on to the flute. This is what the flute's for. They modify the letters' pronunciation in some way. For us reading it, then yes. For the computer, though, I think, like, they can probably get away with just, like, stripping diacritics and stripping every word down to simple things and then go, oh, what's that word used for? Hello there. It's like a dream.
Thank you for breaking the seal. I am Rubus, the Elemental. I made the world of Alefgard. As my thanks, Biendeo, you shall receive this crest. If you were to defeat the evil Grandmaster, I will be indebted. I am Rubus, the Elemental. I pray for peace in this world.
Wow. Thank you. Where did you put that crest? You had to get... Oh, okay, you gave that here. This crest is only, I guess equipable by the main character, but you might as well. It's very lucky, which seems a bit I know, sorry, yeah, Biendeo's a girl, I don't know. They're all female. I made it easy for me, and it's still too hard. It's very lucky, but also this crest has the magical ability of fully resisting insta-death spells. It's an absolute godsend to have at least one character left over. Even if... Oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I can revive people as well. How fun. Yeah, but yeah, I made every character female. And I still can't remember anyone's genders. It's because they get the better, like, equipment items. I know. So, anyway, let's cast outside and, let's call it a stream. So we've still got a little bit left. I don't think we've got a world map here. Yeah, it's like, you could view the world map. It's the same world map as the original game. It's literally like a donut with an island in the middle. And we're almost there, really. We've not really got that much to check out left. I think there's another town, there's another cave, there might be another cave after that, and then there's the actual castle. And so at that point, we should be able to figure out if like we're the right level or not to actually get there. But yeah, no, this is really the end of the game. Like, we're really close to the end. So if it's not next stream, it's the stream after. So let's return back to Aliahan and let's chat to the king, see what he says. Realize that the mum doesn't heal me, and I'll probably forget that I haven't healed between streams. That's okay. We did good today. This was a solid amount of progress. It was better than a single grinding stream. Although a part of me feels, am I over-leveled because enemies are just running away all the time? Yes, true. We've only got 40 minutes or 39 minutes of June left. My taxes are due in 39 minutes. Oh no. You have like 9 more hours of June in Europe. This is the last day of June. Play that one indie game with the Steven Wilson music, I guess. That game takes you about like an hour and a half though, so... It's actually not too bad, so... And we shall rest easy, so... Anyways, with that, I would like to thank you so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this or you didn't enjoy it, you can follow me on Twitch, 8:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard every Monday. Back in June, we'll, no, we're in July. It's July tomorrow, so yes. I'm so tired, I've forgotten the date already after just talking about it. If you missed parts of this or any of the previous streams, they're on YouTube, and you'll probably see this on YouTube in like 12 hours, so that's all good there. And yeah, if you want to see ramblings, you can follow me on the Fedi, m.biendeo.com. The good stuff, always there. I didn't actually say anything about the initiative on the Fedi. Maybe I should. I've been ripping on Reddit experienced programmers. No, Reddit experienced devs, that's the one. Not ripping, actually, but, like, really empathizing with a lot of people there, so, that's a bit of a downer place, actually, because it's a bit too real. Oh, well. So, anyways, take care, don't stay up too late, look both ways before crossing the road, and, yeah, peace!